Hey, what's going on? You know what, dude, fans? This is, I know, you want to go right to the video, but that's not going to happen. So, I've asked for your help before, and I'm asking for it again. I've asked for it with GoFundMes for people's medical bills and, Christmas time for the Children's Hospital and the toy drives. And you guys have always come through. You're the most generous fans I know. You're unbelievable, and I thank you for that. But I need you to help me once again. My sister Lisa has kidney disease. She's had it most of her life. Around 20 years ago, she got a kidney transplant, and it saved her life. But those organs only last for around 16 years. In 2016, that kidney started to fail, and she had to go back on dialysis 4 times a week. That's where they suck all her blood out, filter it, and put it back in her body. It takes around 3 hours. 3 to 4 hours. They have to stick it's awful. She can't go anywhere because she has to be on dialysis. A flu could take her out. Her immune system is so low that she has to just survive. And there's no way to live. And you can help. If you could go to lisaskidney.com and just read about it. And then maybe click on the link. And if you might be able to fill out the form and see if you could be a donor, that would be great. I know it's huge. Dude, you want me to give you a kidney because I like your podcast? No, I get it. If you don't want to do it, I get it. I understand. But if you could, there's thousands of people that listen to this podcast. There's thousands of people on my social media. There's thousands of people that have seen me over the years and like my comedy. So maybe just one of you could do it. That would save my sister's life. So, please, if you could just even pass this on. If you push 15 seconds, I get it. I understand. If you already saw this commercial I put in front of I'm not doing okay. I get it. Move on, go to the show, enjoy yourself. But if you can, please, again, lisaskidney.com. Go there, fill it out, see if you can be a donor or pass it on. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this, and maybe one of you can help my sister live a healthy, happy life. And that's it. Thanks.
It's Robert Kelly's You Know What Do podcast on riotcast.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How are ya? It's Aaron Berg filling in for Robert Kelly. He's in Boston eating Beantown subs with his family. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be a shit kicker. Holy shit, what a beautiful day in New York City. My nuts are stuck to my undercarriage. Beautiful. My God, welcome. Everybody's here. Gabby's here. I told her I'm going to talk normally now. I want a hot coffee. She goes, do you want an iced coffee? And I go, hot. And she thought I meant hot, like that's sexy. So she brought me an iced coffee. Yeah.
That is how I speak.
And I won't drink an iced coffee. I've never had one, nor will I ever. So thank you for going and getting me a coffee. I'm guest hosting today for Bobby Kelly. We'll get to our guests in a second. I want to start the show off with a banger, with a quote. I'm reading the Greg Giraldo book right now. If you guys don't know who he is a fantastic news anchor. You can see him all the time on Fox. He had his own show where he would go into bank vaults and stuff like that. I'm a big comedy aficionado. Greg Giraldo, one of the most brilliant comics of our generation, inevitably did not go down masturbating in front of women, but instead drugs took his life. I want to read a quote to you. Nobody really enjoys this fucking comedy gig. Dude, okay, you have a beautiful family and you never get to see them. You're on the road and you're worried about ticket sales and it's an up and down and you feel good. You feel like shit. You feel good. You feel like shit. You're alone. You can't do anything. You can't have sex with anybody. You can't smoke anything. You can't drink anything. You can't snort anything. You're not supposed to eat shitty because you're going to be on TV, so you got to look good. There's nothing. So you basically have to become some sort of superhero. And how do you deal with that without some type of spirituality or foundation around you that can help you can talk to? Because we're headline comedians. We're alone. Robert Kelly. from the Greg Giraldo book. What a great quote.
That is a great quote.
Wow.
He's such a superhero. I'm very excited to be here today. What a great free gig to do when it only takes an hour to get in.
You look like a small Robert Kelly.
Yeah.
You're like
I was going to let my belly hang out.
You're the middle leg of the Russian doll.
Fantastic. Guest today, absolutely hilarious. One of the funniest women working in New York City comedy, Miss Katie Hannigan.
Hello.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
I'm great. I'm just a few hours after therapy. So
Do you go to the same guy that we all go to?
no, I go to a Julie. I go to a Julie at the Karen Horney Clinic.
Ah, so you don't have money. And is she good? You like seeing a woman therapist?
Yeah, she's pretty good. It's psychoanalysis, so it's not the same as like cognitive behavioral therapy. So it deals mostly with like the subconscious. So it's not like, I don't think it's the same as what you guys do, where it's like you talk through stuff. Like I come to a lot of my own conclusions, and she only points out like patterns and stuff like that. Very subtle stuff.
How long you been going for?
2 years.
It's working?
Yes, it's working so much.
Do you feel less angry? Did you have a big problem with anger?
I had a big problem with like self-hatred.
Yeah.
But so I worked
What'd you
through
do for that?
What did I do for it?
Yeah.
I just got I realized why I have it, and then I just am like, oh, if I find myself falling back into that pattern, I'm like nice to myself and I'm loving to myself.
That's nice. I found the source, and
Hang
it's
on,
only
I
grown.
didn't fucking introduce you yet. That's what Bobby, and then he'd throw this at you, and then he'd need it back because he'd be sweating. Absolutely hilarious.
didn't even
I love him
realize.
all over the place. Mr. Mike Cannon, how are you, Mike?
I'm great. I'm a little jarred from that, to be
Yeah,
honest.
because he would yell. He would yell at you if he was here, probably.
That was in character. That was great.
Yeah.
No, I also would have been taken aback by Bobby, for sure.
Yeah, he would have been. He's a really nice guy, but
He's
he
a
would yell at you.
presence. He's a presence.
Yeah. Now Katie hasn't been here for a while because she bombed last time. She
No,
was
I
here.
think I did. I think I did too well. Mike
don't-
said, "You remember? I was
Bobby
here with
doesn't reward
I was here
competence.
with Joe List.
Come on.
we were going back and
Bobby
forth.
likes to keep people around him that routinely fail so he can feel like the alpha and then constantly cast stones at his underlings.
Is that why so many good people end up leaving the show, and then that's why these
Yeah, they
guys are
grow
here?
to a certain level of strength.
Oh.
I don't think that's it, but I love you, Bobby, and please have me.
Gabby
back
is
on
just the
again.
most durable person on earth. She's super competent and yet can take a fucking beating.
I could take a punch. I'm
Yeah.
from the Jersey Shore.
You look like very feminist, but not simultaneously.
Thank you so much.
Do you feel that?
I think I feel that, and I do look that.
Were your parents like staunch Republicans, and they're like, "You're a woman, but you're gonna make it in a man's world"?
You're a woman, but shut the fuck up.
Would they say that?
No, my parents are hippies.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
they let you be whatever you wanted to be.
Yeah, and here I am.
It led you to this. Are you happy
Yeah, I'm thrilled.
every day?
Every single day.
A blessing.
A blessing.
Get out of bed. You're just hyped to get going.
Yeah, wow, wow, wow.
That's
That's what I
Gabby,
said.
Gabby, didn't you just have your birthday?
I did.
Happy birthday!
Thanks.
How old are you now?
I'm 25.
Are you having like a quarter life thing? Are you freaking
No,
out?
I feel good. I feel like an adult.
It is also super fun that women think you're going to live to 100.
Yeah.
Are you having a quarter life thing? That came about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I can't do math.
Are
I
you
don't
a
know what
woman
I'm
in
at.
Korea? Are you going to live forever? Do they live
25
longer in Korea?
don't know.
Not in North Korea.
No. Because they don't
Maybe
have
the
the
South
internet,
one.
so they don't know how to WebMD shit.
They also
like
don't
that.
have food. That helps.
Do you have a boyfriend, Gabby?
I don't.
No. Girlfriend?
No,
What's your thing?
I'm straight.
Like boys?
Yes.
Very rare nowadays. If you had to pick between him, and him, which guy would be your
I would
type?
kill myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marry, fuck, kill. Kill,
Nobody
kill,
bums
kill.
on that one. It's awesome. You don't date comics?
No.
That took a second. So
Not
there's
yet.
a lie in there, maybe?
Not yet. I don't know.
Not yes.
Not yet.
Good for you. And where do you live?
In Brooklyn.
By yourself or how many roommates?
One roommate.
Boy or girl?
Gay man.
Cat?
No.
Dog?
No.
Favorite Netflix show?
Gilmore Girls.
Huh?
Yeah, that's,
reruns.
that's
Yeah.
How about the Ted Bundy tapes? That was fun.
I love that one.
Can't wait to finish it.
Yeah.
Can't wait
It's
to
one
find
of
out what
those
happens.
mindless things I
Yeah.
put on right before bed.
Oh, I was watching it intently. I stared into his eyes the whole time. He's got crazy eyes. Could you imagine?
Did you find him attractive?
No, only because when you see him on the tapes, he's in the grips of a mental illness.
Yeah.
But he is really, his eyes are so insane.
He looked like Lenny Bruce at the end of his career, just reading from his court documents.
Yeah, when he
Yeah.
was representing himself. I mean, that was.
He jumped out
really
of a window.
wild.
That was pretty
Your
awesome.
Honor, just let me do my bits.
Well, that's what I find so
That's not how
attractive
the law
about him.
works.
I know, it's
Put
like
up the
he's got
punch.
potential. I think that's sexy. You know, so I would get in his car to help his dog.
Yeah.
Speaking
That's
of dogs,
how he would trick people, right? Yeah.
women do live longer in Korea. So
Boom!
Wow.
Wow, someone got fact checked.
heading towards 90.
Very nice.
That's so weird that my racism was able to spot that with
It's
just a
innate
guess.
and it's inside of you
Because
at this point. So it's such
Yeah.
you're like Bruce Lee in terms of his instincts to block a punch. Your racism is so deep in you, it just shoots out without you
It's almost
consciously aware.
a superpower.
Can I tell you when I was racist recently? And don't say every day on my show. But
On my show.
It's Monday through Friday.
I had this. There was a guy at the gym, like a big black guy, and he was like really rude. He's like, "Yo, I was working here," like that. And
Yeah.
he left towels. And
What'd
I
you
was like,
say? What is that? The first job you ever had?
No, I backed away. And
Sorry,
I was
I tried to
frightened.
jump on and
Yeah.
support.
But then, for like an hour, every black person I saw, I wanted to be angry at them because of him.
Yeah.
But then,
Yes.
after that, I saw like Sheriff David Clark on Fox, and I was like, oh, they're not all bad. And I felt better
jeez,
after
who
that.
is that?
He's the sheriff that goes on. He's one of those real pandering black guys.
Oh.
It's like, we need more law in this country. But anyway, so I shook my racism after an hour.
So it sounds like you were just racist in a different way to that other guy.
Correct. There
Your
he is,
your
Sheriff David
racism
Clark.
was
You've
just
never
That looks
seen
like
this
an
guy?
SNL character.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like Tim Meadows.
Yeah. You've never watched them?
I love his goatee.
Yeah,
My
his-
goodness.
That's all of his
Face smirking.
Very rich.
all of his
yeah.
flair from his TGI Friday waiter job. None of them are real like cop things at all.
He
look
seems
at that.
cool.
Yeah.
Seems like he has some progressive ideas
Watch,
about weed.
he's a real.
that's
He's what Yamanika would call the C word for black people. They have a word where they call black people that really pander to the right, and he would call them that. They would
I
call
can't
him
say
that
it either.
word. Yeah, you can't say that word either. So he'll always defend the president and stuff like this. I don't watch Fox anymore because my wife doesn't let me because she thought it was making me too angry. So I don't get to watch any news at all, which means I have to go on Twitter for everything.
Yeah, but that's the best because then you can kind of check sources and find your own opinion, right?
Can you really check sources
Yeah,
on
you
Twitter?
shouldn't watch too much news. It'll just drive you insane.
I don't watch any. Her dad watches it all the time and won't shut up. So whenever I talk to her dad, it's all just about like, this Ocasio Courts. And doesn't even pronounce her name.
I think Twitter is maybe the only kind of healthy medium for information because you can just so quickly see what the opposing views are and then also just find journalists that you trust.
Yeah. My only news source is Dr. Phil.
Yeah, me too.
I just watch his show. It's not really news. He just yells at teens, but
He's
it's
still
good enough for me.
around?
That's news in a
I don't
sense.
know. There
Yeah.
could be reruns. I'm not sure, but that's what I've been
He's just
watching.
fixing the same teen over and over in a mustache.
Does he get a percentage of Cash Me Outside?
Probably.
Oh, I wonder.
Oh
I
my
bet they
God.
had to.
Because
you
she's
have to
worth
sign a
millions
contract.
at
I'm
this
sure.
point.
You think he manages her or something like that? It's
Well,
some
but
weird
his
thing.
platform was the launch pad for her entire thing. Her catchphrase was created on his show. So does that somehow take ownership of like 10%?
I know that network contracts are pretty slimy, but I don't think they would say like, whatever you say on this show, we own. Like, I don't think they'd be like-
come up with the new cowabunga, it's ours.
I
Let me
could
look that
picture,
up, but
like,
let's see what Sheriff David Clark had to say about the Trump joke.
okay.
Okay, the president was making a joke. A lot of people, Sheriff, by the way, good to have you on the show. You see the journalists there reporting on it. Lots of focus taken away from the violent gang. They machete and they hack people to death. Again, a distraction due to what
Hack
the
people
president
to death,
said.
Aaron, you know
the
what that's
Suffolk
like.
County Police Department did not like what the president said. They said in a statement, as a department, we do not and will not tolerate roughing up prisoners.
That's a picture of him,
You know,
right?
we
He's
have a
not just
number of law
standing there
enforcement
stoically.
officials not
So
liking what
still?
the president
He's a street
said, making
performer
a
in
joke
Union
about
Square.
it. Do you think it's okay that he made a joke about police brutality?
Well, first of all, let's unpack
God.
this a little bit. President Donald Trump would never suggest, he would never put up or tolerate unethical or unlawful behavior from any law enforcement officer. What I got out of that, and I'd have to suspend my sensibility to think that he was encouraging that sort of behavior from a law enforcement officer. But when he said, when you see them thrown into the back of a police car or into the back of a paddy wagon, you know what that usually means to me? That person is resisting arrest. And when that happens, law enforcement officers are allowed to use all reasonable force to get them under control and into custody. So that's what I took out.
Yeah, Sheriff, it's sort of...
Well,
He looks kind of like the Klingon from Star Trek, doesn't he?
that's a
Don't you
worth
think?
look to him.
Yeah, minus the furrowed
I forget
brow.
what that guy's name. Oh yeah, this guy. This guy.
Oh,
Totally.
Worf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the same facial hair, just a different forehead ridge.
Yeah. It is
Different
weird. Like,
forehead
I've
ridge.
withdrawn myself so much from the, celebrity gossip portion of politics that, like, it's still, I just forget that Trump is the president sometimes. And so, because
Yeah.
most of the news is nothing, right? It's all just kind of, editorialized and horseshit and people throwing their opinions back and forth. So whenever something factual comes out, I try to check in with that. But I never remember that he's actually the figurehead of our country.
You forget.
So seeing it is like, oh, that's weird.
What news do you actually trust now? Like, what news will you read and just go, oh, this isn't some weird opinionated
None, not
BuzzFeed?
really.
National Geographic. I'm not kidding. They had a great article a few years ago that was about climate change, and it was like, because there's such a proliferation of misinformation all over the internet, you have to have sources that you trust. You have to have sources that are proven to be like trustworthy, and that's one where they're like, we pledge that this is a good one. You can, and the whole article was about it. But I mean, I've never had.
But
I
didn't
don't
like
think-
Rupert Murdoch buy them or something like that? Like somebody that owns one of the major news corporations just bought them.
But I mean, they're not like anti-climate change. They're
Right?
still
No,
like.
I'm on board with
I think
that.
National Geographic is one you can trust. But it's also like, I mean, can you trust anything? Who knows? Because we are in kind of like a dystopia now.
Yeah, Fox bought National Geographic.
Yeah.
There you go. I watched BBC News the other day.
BBC, I think, is good.
And I was like, they seem trustworthy. And I don't know if it's just the accent that kind of
It
reels
is.
you in.
It for sure.
I'm
is.
telling the truth, Governor.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
lie about it.
Oh, it's like
news is
David
amazing.
Attenborough.
Yeah.
So good.
I really bought them. I can't, everything that I watch now, and I don't know if it was the president's intention, but you second guess everything. Like I used to watch CNN and I was like, oh, this is a real thing. And now you can't do that
even
anymore.
like the New York Times, you don't know because there was a whole, the whole thing
Washington
with them.
Post, too.
Yeah.
I think that's important, right? Because you watch. The only time I really watch mainstream news on TV, especially, is at the gym. So I'll just watch and kind of read the subtitles and see two different opposing views on the same subject. And it's as if we're living in two completely separate dimensions. So
Yeah.
you don't, there's no, people are debating what's actually happening in front of their faces. So at some point you got to kind of hear each side out and then come up with your own opinion.
Yeah, that's it. Like you have to work at news now. We
Yeah.
have to do the job that they used to do, which is we'll take both sides of the story and then figure out what we believe.
I think that's also why, to continue, we were talking about this the other day, Mike and I, why people believe stuff like flat Earth, because it's like, well, I don't know if the news is true. Like,
Right.
how do I even know if the Earth is round?
Yeah, you start doubting everything.
And then you just start looking for whatever supports your bias on the internet, and you find it immediately. And you're like, oh,
Like
Yeah.
a basketball
Easy.
player saying he believes in it.
Right. And also people are desperate to find connection and community, so they latch on to stuff like that. Something like Flat Earth is such an opposing view that, of course, weirdly it's a growing community, but it used to be kind of a small sect, and people felt special for being a part of it. So it was their own kind of tangential religion.
it was
Yeah.
like their open mics.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly. It was O'Hanlon's on a Friday.
Yeah, I got a ride from a guy. Well, I was out in working at Governor's, and I was with Sean Donnelly, and somebody gave us a ride back, and he was a flat earther, and I was like, wow, I guess that's the price of me keeping my mouth shut, just getting one ride from Long Island.
Did you keep your mouth shut the whole
I
ride?
kept my mouth shut until he criticized one of my jokes, and then I was like, he said he thinks I could go further with the joke, and I was like, real to the edge? Think I could go to the edge?
But what happens if I run into a 2-mile high ice wall?
Yeah. I don't understand the notion of flat Earth. I don't understand how people could think that when we grew up with globes in our classrooms.
But that's part of it. That's part of the indoctrination. They're trying to convince you from an early age. What's one of your first things that you get as a child? A cushy fucking circular.
Yeah.
It's all horseshit, dude.
Well,
It doesn't
what
matter.
if I fly up to, say, me and Lance Bass go into space,
Yeah.
right? And I look down from space in
After eating
between
his
blowing
ass.
Lance Bass, in between sucking Lance Bass's tasty talent and taint.
I mean, if you're gonna blow a guy, it might as well be
You'd suck
him. He
Lance
looks
Bass's
clean
dick.
as fuck.
Yeah, and even if he wasn't circumcised, he'd pull back enough. You know what I mean?
He's like the male
circumcised.
version of Dr. Evil's cat.
Oh,
He's
boy.
hairless.
Yeah, there'd be what? Oh, who else? The guy from Magic Mike? No, he looks dirty.
Channing Tatum?
Yeah, he probably had
Channing
it. He had an
Tatum.
STD.
But he gets fat in between movies, so I don't know.
Sweet.
Maybe
that's
on
when
set.
we could get
Extra
him,
skin,
though.
a lot of extra skin.
Yeah.
You don't want to get that stretch marks.
Who else is hot?
True.
Bob Saget?
Yeah.
Sag-
Famously hot.
Sure,
Yeah.
I'd blow him for my career.
Would you really? For
I-
this
yes, I
career
would
that you
blow.
have right now?
No, not for this career.
Thank God.
For nothing. I basically blow him to have nothing.
So what time am I at Greenwich?
Bob, if you could get me an extra 100 in
Please, I don't
Schenectady.
get booked
Yeah.
there anymore.
I don't get booked there either anymore.
That's because you wanted to get paid.
Yeah. What was I going to say? You're having a baby, Mike, which
I
is
am.
awesome. In July.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
July
having a
26th.
boy.
I'm having a boy,
which-
perpetuating the patriarchy.
Yeah. Are you so excited?
I am. Yeah, I'm super pumped, man.
I
mean,
thought
would
I was going to have a boy.
Yeah,
Are you
not
guys
just
gonna name
because
it
it's a
something
boy.
weird like Clover?
No,
I
I
feel
mean
like-
it might be a little weird, but it's also because it's my my name, what I want to name him, and I think I've maybe tipped the scales with her whole family. I'm certainly not going to put it out on this podcast because I just don't.
Wait, so the
need
whole
to face
family
public
gets
ridicule.
the input on the name, or just you and your wife?
No, we only got the input. I put it out there kind of as a complete joke, like kind of test the waters, and everybody was like, I love that.
Is it Spider-Man?
It
If we
is.
guess it, we
It's
Spider-Man
actually
Cannon? That's
yeah.
an amazing name.
Spider-Man Cannon.
It's actually
That's
fart
a weapon.
shit.
Fart
No
shit.
spaces.
Shit cannon.
You're having a boy. It's great to have a boy, I think. I have a girl,
Yeah.
and I love my daughter so much, but it's
Hyper.
not doing that thing like Pete Dominic I'll see, and he's like, are you so much more aware of like women's stuff now because you have a daughter? Like, and I'm like, no, like I'm aware of it, but I haven't changed my whole essence because of it. You know, Pete went this whole other way because he has daughters and stuff, so he's like, all that matters are women and everything. No offense, but it's like, you know,
We don't matter.
it
It's
hasn't
fine.
changed. It hasn't changed me like that. And I'll also say this: having a boy, I think you're more fortunate because trolls will be less likely. Like people were going after my daughter. They're like, "Nice looking son."
Oh no!
And-
I mean,
and I was like-
but I get called. Everything on Reddit is about my sexuality, so I assume all those jokes are going to be transferred to my kid as well. I really don't care. I would have been happy either way. The one reason why I'm genuinely, and this is almost too serious, genuinely happy that I'm having a son is so I can be the first Cannon in my family to like effectively communicate with my son.
Yeah.
None of my my father didn't communicate with me. His father didn't communicate with him. Like no line, no lineage. The men have never fucking talked or shared or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm genuinely excited to be kind of present and upload my horseshit onto
A
him.
lot of loose cannons.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
It's wordplay with Katie Hannigan.
I have downed my entire iced coffee and I will not stop.
I love it. I love that you're woke enough to know where you think your dad went wrong and where you're not going to go wrong.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it also probably the perpetuated Irish physical abuse. Like that certainly had something to do with it
You're
as well.
not going to hate your kid.
No, I think it's going to take me and whatever I've been through and whatever hallucinogens I've done to make me as aware as I am to stop that line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like my dad, he meant well and he even said those goals out loud in the beginning, and who knows, I might fucking shift with things too, but he just lost awareness and just perpetuated the same cycle of bullshit. But I've gone to therapy, and I'm constantly working on myself and trying to better it.
Do you feel, because I'm going through this in therapy now where they make you question everything about your parents, and they'll be like, well, your parents weren't good parents. And
Right.
and I'm always like justifying like, well, no matter what happened, I ended up where I am. I'm a good person now. I have a great family. I'm a good dad. So even no matter what they did, doesn't that like the bad stuff gets negated because I turned out positive? He's like, well, is that really? He's like,
Well, I think the way my therapist framed it was kind of like hold them accountable, but also empathize. So understand where that came from, where their abuse came from, and all that stuff. And it's almost like this is to a further extent, but it's like Michael Jackson, right? He was severely abused as a kid, and then he turns into a monster pedophile. So while you empathize with the fact that he was wildly abused and shouldn't have been, you can still hold him accountable for being a pedophile
Right.
because he was a piece of shit and he made his own decisions.
And you can still watch his videos.
Yeah.
Of course I can.
And
I
by
will.
the way, great name for a band, Monster Pedophile.
That's my band baby's name, Michael Jackson Cannon.
I love it. But yeah, I think that, I mean, it's like what constitutes a perfect childhood? If I think it's impossible to have a perfect childhood and to not be traumatized in childhood. Like I had medical trauma from when I was a baby that like lasted for a long time, and that wasn't even anything. Like my parents spanked me, my parents had issues. Like I definitely had trauma from that, but I had trauma from like all kinds of other stuff. Like when I was 4, I ate a fried shrimp. I ate a piece of fried shrimp. I ate the tail, and I thought I was gonna die, but I was too afraid to tell anyone, and so I just silently spiraled in my own mind, just waiting for my own death, because I was worried if I told somebody, then they would be like, "Fuck, we got to go to the hospital now." Like you have moments.
At 4 years old.
At 4 years old.
And you remember this?
I remember it because I had a lot of medical trauma because I had spinal meningitis when I was 2, and so I had a lot of I had to be like force fed medicine, and from that I like had a food aversion. I wouldn't eat anything cherry flavored for years, and I think that like played out in so many different ways. I had like a lot of issues with that as a child. I was afraid of being poisoned constantly.
Oh, I can
Yeah.
bet. Jeez.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like, and that's not even my parents' fault, So I think like
Here I was bitching about my childhood.
My dad didn't die
yeah.
of me.
I haven't eaten anything cherry in 54 years.
I
Katie
still
was
don't eat
born
it.
in 1902 when meningitis was still around.
Where did you grow up,
Yeah.
Katie?
Where did I grow up? Indianapolis.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's even if you are as good of a parent as you possibly can be, you still can't shield your kid from trauma, and also children have to learn how to deal with that.
Yeah,
you
it's
can't-
part of being conscious.
Yeah.
Yes, it absolutely is.
It's just
Here's my fear is it, and I've only recently become happy, literally like in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, but before that I was constantly going through struggles, and now you're like, if it takes my kid like 40 some odd years to find happiness, that's not a good thing. But now it's like, I'm going to live to 120 because I'm a Korean man.
But if you shave time off that, so
Yeah.
say she finds happiness at 30,
Yeah.
you kind of did your job.
Yeah.
Because then her kid
Yeah.
could maybe find happiness at 20, and then it lower. You're leading a progression as opposed to perpetuating the bad shit.
Yeah. There must be so many bad parents in this world. Like when I watched
everybody.
I watched the video today. If I can send it to you, it'd be awesome. But my wife tagged me on it. My wife tags me on Facebook, and I so badly want to block her on everything. I so badly, because she'll sometimes just fucking pipe up, and I was like, you don't understand the level of awesome trolls that I have, and I don't want her to get dragged into it.
Is that how you decided on your child's name?
Can you
like
send
you
that
are
to-
always
Piper.
piping up.
No, Piper's so cute.
yeah,
she
she
has
really
a very
is.
cute upper lip.
Our problem is she has red hair.
She's got red. Last time I saw her, I was saying I was like a little
Yeah.
strawberry blonde.
Yeah, and I did not expect that, but I'm happy about it because, like, even if she's beautiful, people still make fun of her for that. So that'll kind of ground her a little bit. You know what I mean? They didn't want to have like some sophomoric, sorority girl that
Sure.
would just be hot, and I'd be worried about that. And my fear is also I'll probably at least violently attack someone, if not shoot someone, if they break my daughter's heart. Like I already have that in my mind. Where it's like I'm like, you know what? I'm old enough now. I can get along decent enough in prison. I can go to 3 to 5 years. I could do.
But
for
that you
hard
want her to
assault.
get her heart broken though, because she needs to be able to learn to weed out guys, so she's not like
Yeah.
married to a guy who's constantly at a show choir camp.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, where's Damon gone again?
Such specific references.
I've never even heard of show choir camp.
I went.
Did you really? What's a day in the life of a show choir camp?
Well,
How old were you first?
I
of all?
I went when I was, I think, 14 or 15.
Say a little prayer for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I actually am not that good of a singer or dancer, so I was just like brutally mocking everyone there. And so I got like a reputation for being very funny, and then
Yeah.
I was just making fun of everybody, and then no one wanted to be my friend. I became an outcast. I hit the top, and then I went all the way back down to the bottom.
Yeah.
So it was
Fun.
kind of rough.
See, you went to the camp, and I did the unofficial. I sang show tunes for company when they'd come over as a child. That
Oh
was-
my god.
Yeah, I
That's
was one of
fun.
those kids. Like
Yeah.
my parents would wheel First of all, both of my sisters are like musical prodigies, proficient at the piano by the time they were like 4 years old, and I was some doofus that could play sports and kind of hold a tune, and so they'd just wheel me out and like make me sing romantic duets with my sisters.
Like what was one of the songs?
Oh, A Whole New World. I could crush that
with
shit.
your sister.
It is wild. Yeah, with
This
my
is
sister. I've
awesome.
spoken about
That's
it on
great.
this show before, but
Yeah.
it's like, it was a big part of my childhood.
When I was little, my aunt, who's 8 years older than me, she and I would take my brother. I would be like 4 or 5, and my
Take
brother would
turns
be.
on him.
Well, we would play a game we called Midget Daddy, and we would pretend that he was our father. We would pretend that he was our father, but a midget, and
Yeah.
he would be like 18 months old, and we'd be like, "Dad, what should we do now?"
Yeah.
It was really fun.
This is great.
Midget Daddy. Try it at home.
This sounds horrible. So you're saying it'll help weed out the bad guys if she, but it's gonna break because she does this now. Like when I go, no, you can't do that. She'll do this,
Oh,
and then
Manipulation.
but she knows exactly what she's doing.
course.
Oh yeah,
Of course.
because
And-
babies are quite intelligent, you know.
And I hate yelling at it. The video I sent you is an example of a horrible parent. Don't think I just picked it because it was awesomely racist, because then it's just going to seem so weird. And I already have that reputation throughout town.
That's
I have
weird.
to avoid that. Yeah. I don't know why. Just because the place I work at. I'm like, Jesus, I make a comedy show. Don't let everybody see your sign in, by the way. That's probably a horrible thing if someone's going to hack into your account. But you're not going to have to deal with that with a boy. You're just going to be like, you're going to have to teach a boy
Of course
how
I
to
will,
respect
though.
women.
I'm gonna have to teach him how to also approach life with kind of an open heart, and to communicate and to get through a breakup. I got my wife and I literally dated when we were 10 years old, so I got my heart broken by her when we were like 10 years old, 10, 11 years old, and like we'd get back together and break up as kids do, but like. Nobody spoke to me on how to manage those emotions.
Yeah.
I just kind of coped with it, and my parents would badmouth her afterwards.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
more or less how I dealt with any of it.
Would you call her a bitch and stuff like when you were young?
No, I would just like it would just I wouldn't call her a bitch, but I would like mock her looks or mock everybody or mock her family, like just like anything to make me feel better, lash out, and it's probably what made me funny.
Yeah.
But it also didn't help me.
Yeah, I think it is amazing to have the opportunity to teach someone emotional hygiene, because that is something like nobody is really taught growing. No one's like, hey, you have to process your emotions.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel angry. I've never learned anything like that. I mean, my family's very Irish, so it's like,
Same.
it's the same. It's like, we don't talk about it. You just go have a couple fucking drinks and pass out.
Yeah.
My family expresses one emotion, and it's anger, and it's the only emotion that it's okay to express, and you can say whatever you'd like. It's like the purge, and then the excuse is, well, you were angry.
But they
And then
think that they're
bottle
being
in.
emotionally
Of
attached.
course.
Because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
all that I had for a while was
Yeah.
anger. And now I have choke. I have sad. I have regret. But it's I've broadened it. But it's amazing when my parents criticize. That's all they do because they're super Jewy. So all they do is criticize. And my therapist made me ask my dad
Is that
if
why
he's
you
proud
grew
of me.
yourself into the opposite of a Jew?
I won't be, and then inside, you're
be the
still a
physicist.
Jew. No matter how you look at your circumcised dong, Abba Ven Brabab. That's my Hebrew name or something like that.
You have a mini Jew inside
Yeah.
pulling levers.
Why don't you lift more, you dirty goyim? How's your shiksa wife? You like having sex? Oh, look at that Easter ham. You know you want it. I found my wife sent me this video today, and I wanted to show it as an example of really how horrible people can be, and to just think that this woman is a mother to a child, and somehow a child will be able to watch this via the internet. Can we go to the
Oh my God! Hey, you're gonna go to jail for that.
Oh, beautiful.
She was using the N-word a whole bunch before this, too.
This sounds like the opioid epidemic.
On our property.
There is. Do you know what? There's a.
You're on our property. You're on our property.
Get the hell on! You're about to get ran over.
Look at her ass.
There's a. Oh God.
And look, there's kids right there.
Then go bye-bye. Get the fuck out of here.
Such a stinger word.
Who's that guy?
No, he was cursing her out too, and then
Because you're walking by with racial slurs.
niggas recording me. For what? You can
you
watch
were
your
on
mouth
his
and
property
you can
cursing him.
Nigga, go the fuck somewhere. there.
Don't do
There
it,
is
Rashonda.
kids.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
What a piece
Go.
of shit of a person you are.
She's over here pushing Greg and shit.
I'm a 6'4". Yeah, come on.
This is Easter, by the way. This is
You
Easter.
pushed him. You just pushed him.
Christ has rise. Christ has
Where's my eggs?
Yeah. What if she just got nailed by a car?
Yeah, she was on an Easter egg
Just
hunt.
got
She hasn't
Regina
found a
George.
damn egg. She's pissed.
Oh, nigga, that makes it better.
You just pushed him.
Look at her.
And I haven't found a damn egg. So I'm around here.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Hey, you're gonna go to jail for that. Yeah. You're gonna... I almost turned it off too. I swear to God. I almost turned it off.
Feels like an episode of Reno 911.
Yeah.
And like, it looks like a nice neighborhood, right? Like if you lived in New York, you're like, oh, this is a nice neighborhood.
Nigger.
Jesus.
Throw this block at her, bitch. Go somewhere.
Where is
To
this?
hear it said with actual malice, really, like, it can...
Outside the Cannon home in Rockland County.
Yeah, it's like really so upsetting to see all these horrible videos of white people like hurling slurs, and it's kind of like, you know, that's not normal behavior. Is this woman having like some kind of like bipolar episode?
yeah.
Because like or is she just like normal and that racist? You know what I mean? Because like it's just so hard to watch that as a white person and be like, really, what is going on?
She's probably just on Ambien.
Or like is she like in the grips of, you know, I've been watching Drugs Inc. I got in a rabbit hole. I watch it like every night now, and there's a lot of drugs floating around there. A lot of drugs, folks.
And they make people real weird.
But
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this: drugs or no drugs, for people to be assholes like that in front of kids.
Yeah.
That concerns me.
On Easter.
On
And
Easter,
also-
no less.
On the
and
day
also-
Christ came back.
By the way, I
So close to
flat
Notre
out-
Dame.
I flat out stopped using the N-word. I've talked to you about this before.
I'm proud of you. I'm genuinely proud.
I don't. Even when I used to use it like jokingly, I stopped using it probably a year ago because my friend Ian Lara, who opens for me, we had a conversation. So I just don't say it anymore. I'll say, when I'm talking about it, she said the N-word. That's as hard as I get. But that word is fucking stinging. Like when you don't say it and you hear it, it like stings you like
and
that.
especially with that intent. Like, you know, I mean, we hear it in comedy and it kind of, you know, you desensitize to it. You don't hear it that much.
Yeah.
But when it's shouted in such a like actual hurtful way, there is something it does to your body that
Yeah,
it's
because
like
the intention is dehumanizing. That's like what
Yeah.
the root of it is.
And it's
you
a
know? So
painful
like-
word. And I
Yeah.
get how the word faggot could sound the same.
Yeah, that's also like really dehumanizing too. So it's like, yeah, I don't think people should say it. You know, I know there was that thing a few years ago where someone hit a guy on at an open mic because he said it in the context of a joke. But it's like, you know, I loved watching the Megyn Kelly thing when she was talking about the blackface, and she had Melissa Rivers on, and Melissa Rivers was like, you know, I grew up in a household that was like, we do good manners. So, you know, you have manners. You don't dress up as like a Nazi if you think that that's going to make someone uncomfortable. I think it's the same with the N-word. Like, have manners enough to respect people and not be triggering them with your dehumanizing language. I know it's like, it's not that big of a deal.
The thing is, you do have the technical right to say whatever you want, but also just understand that what it does to people,
right?
And that there may be some genuine physical, you know, repercussions. You know, people throw it around online like it's nothing. And then you go out and perform in front of people in real life, and nobody's talking like that.
Right.
Like
Not anymore, no.
nobody's in your audience and like throwing that shit around unless they're hugely
Indian
pieces
kids.
of shit.
Yeah, Indian kids say it so much. I'll be on
know.
the train and I was like, "What? Like you get offended, but you can't say anything to these Indian kids."
And Chinese, a lot of Chinese kids on the N train going out to Bay Ridge.
Why does it have to be the N train?
I mean, you know,
well, it's a lot of layers here.
Yeah.
A lot of those trains are N-word trains.
It's
a lot to unpack.
It's amazing how, and we can say this as three white comics all in their late 40s, but
I'm 25. Thank you. I'm the same age as Gabby.
We're twins.
There is an evolution happening where it's like as older comics, and you're not older, but you're like a vet at this point, right? You've been doing it.
Yeah, I've been doing stand-up 10 years.
10 years.
Same.
So there comes this point where I get it, where it's like you look at the angry open mic scene and they're like, all these people suck. And you're like, no, we don't suck. But I also understand that evolution has to happen so that you don't become a dinosaur in comedy. You do have to take what the younger generation is saying, and maybe not take all of it on, but you do have to be aware of the stuff. And even if your audience is buying what you're selling, you still have to go to New York clubs and be able to communicate with these people that aren't your audience.
Well, I think Metzger is really great about that, and he speaks about it really eloquently because he's like, listen, no matter what your position is, like in terms of being sensitive or whatever, or PC, I'm still going to find a way to shove my dumb jokes down your face.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if you're a really good comic, the challenge is to find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
That's it.
and so people can be PC, but as a comic, you should almost look at that as a challenge to be like, well, I'm going to make this so fucking creative that you can't help but laugh.
Yeah, but I also think it's like a neophyte like comic move to want to do like that shock value of like saying something like that in the first place. You know, that's like people who are, I think, are like a little bit younger, and then as you like develop, you're like, oh, I have interests, I have a voice, and then you kind of go more down that path.
Right.
You know?
But also that's like young comic shock versus old comic shock is
Yeah.
because I'll still throw in something that people aren't typically used to hearing,
Right.
especially in smaller towns. And you throw something out and it's like, it's technically shocking, but I hope I'm masking it in enough creative language that's going to differentiate myself between me and some fucking 18-month comic that's just saying, and a cunt's hairy.
Yeah.
And well, I think a lot of young
Because
comics do
rape
that.
is what's for dinner.
Yeah, a lot of young comics do that, and it can be like different for different people. But I remember the reason Corinne and I had that show, the Comedian Project, was because we both felt like we were like.
Were you holding for applause?
Thank you. And I'm getting nothing.
Just like the show that night.
But we had that show because we were like, I felt like I was just, I was doing so many jokes, man hating jokes. And I was like, I feel like it's a crutch for me.
Yeah.
And she was like, I feel like I always talk about sex. So
Right.
we were like, let's do a joke where we don't talk about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so
Well, that's
that
the
was
thing.
the whole.
That is an interesting thing that's happening. Is now, you know, with the evolution of jokes and the things that you can and people do talk about, the popular topics, certain things become hack, right? So like straight white guy as a punchline, I don't care. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It's hack at this point to just use that. It's like saying anything else. It's
Saying
like
white
any
privilege,
it's
saying all
any
those-
it's any other general fucking lazy writing horseshit.
Yeah. It's amazing to watch the transition that comedy is going through now, where it's like, I think as club comics, we saw people maybe 4 or 5 years ago that were like, oh, these aren't very good club comics. And then they surpassed all these club comics and they started getting specials and stuff like that. And to watch them kind of... To watch the balance rise again, just to watch funny be funny, it's an amazing thing. And I'm still shocking on stage, but it's another layer that I add to the rest of my stuff. So when I say something shocking, it just elevates the laugh. And I find like the climate now facilitates that and gives it a bigger oomph, because when you're not supposed to say something, if you've got something funny and then you throw that thing in, it's another like, oh, he shouldn't say that, but I'm still laughing anyways. It's a really cool thing. It's a great time to be doing comedy, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's for sure. It's not boring.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I know it is interesting too, because it's so subjective. So it's like, who knows? Some people that don't like my stuff, they might like something else, and it's hard to say too, because it's like I watch. You know, I used to watch a ton of comedy. I don't. Not that much anymore, but some stuff I can't even, like specials,
Yeah.
I won't even make it through 2 minutes.
No, it's
Like,
tough,
I
yeah.
hate this. I absolutely hate this.
Yeah, it's so manufactured. But like it's better to do, it's really nice to do comedy live now, right?
Yeah.
When you put stuff out online, it everybody becomes like really courageous. Like I just had some stupid joke where I'm putting up a minute-long clip a week just to try to like get my shit out there and really, you know, whatever, sell some fucking tickets, right? And I have a joke about my wife's ex-boyfriend, and then how it reflects on my insecurity of, you know, sex and all this stuff. And these two women were they took it to a level where they not only misrepresented the joke, they told me that I was responsible for lynchings. Like so it's
there's
like
a lot of fucking
it's like
wackadoos
it's
on
an
the
odd
internet.
thing where I'm perpetuating a stereotype that has over-sexualized black men and led to lynchings in the past. So me even referencing it, whether or not I'm being self-deprecating, is irrelevant. I'm actually adding to the probability of somebody getting lynched, and it's like, what are we doing here?
But social media is a haven for the mentally ill. It's
Yeah.
like you have
So
got
true.
to get the fuck off of Twitter. Stop commenting. If you're somebody who just like routinely comments on people's stuff and you don't even ever like put out, then get off the damn internet. Go
Yeah.
join
Yeah.
a club.
I've
also-
started... Sorry, go ahead.
If you're
Nick.
like thinking that far into jokes, so you're just not a fan of comedy.
No.
Like it comes down where like everyone's watching stand-up right now, and maybe you just don't get stand-up.
It's not for you.
It's
yeah.
not for you.
Yeah. Jazz isn't for everybody.
Well, that's the
Yeah,
problem.
comedy is jazz.
Every
baby.
every single person thinks they have a great sense of humor.
Right.
Even the wildly dull and autistic think that they can soak up as much. They got the best sense of humor.
Yeah.
However, because that's how every fucking critique starts, right?
Yeah.
Is I love comedy. However, what you just said, and it's like, no, you're just a fucking idiot that has an awful sense of humor. Probably laughs to yourself about some math problem you came up with, and then project that horseshit out into the world, and like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, if there's anything I've learned from Twitter, it's like the grasp of irony is not something that everybody has.
No.
It is like I mean,
Most
I feel
don't.
like there's a lot of dyslexia out there.
Yeah.
It's like if you read something that is a joke and you don't think it is, you may be kind of retarded in
but
a
even
way.
audio dyslexia.
I posted a picture of the British woman that had falsely filed suit against 15 men for raping her. So she said all 15
She
of
slipped
these,
up?
She said,
She filed it wrong?
she said 15
weird.
men
She
raped
fudged
her.
the report.
None of them had raped her. One guy did 2 years and 9 months in prison. And then it found out it was all a lie. So I put on Instagram, I said she was a very large woman. So I said she was sentenced to 10 years in prison. I go, clearly the jury had eyes. Now the joke could be, well, the jury read through everything.
Sure.
But people see it as, the
She's-
surface is she's a very large woman. So a comic, I'm going to say this very loosely before I get to it. I think she's a much newer comic. She lives in Canada, in Halifax, which is a lovely city. And she wrote, Robert Kelly said, and the podcast you're doing horribly. Anyways.
Hi, Bobby.
I think we've settled in.
So I said, this woman wasn't a rape victim. I make this very clear. This is clear in the joke. This woman said, making fun a rape victim is low, dude, and implying mainstream beauty standards mean anything to attack shows you're a total moron. I hope you lose your ability to talk so you never spew your hateful ignorance into a microphone. I'm circulating this post to all the bookers I know. This was a young comic that had called for... I gather the censorship of it. So I didn't even dignify it with a response.
Yeah,
and
that's
I thought
my
that was
problem.
the
Is I
best thing to do.
have such fucking rabbit ears, and I want to engage because I'm also like pretty progressive. Like I'm not PC when it comes to what I say on stage. I do what I think is funny. I'm not intentionally trying to hurt anybody, but I'm also not going to quiet down the thoughts in my head that I find entertaining. But they're fucking losing me. Like when you're so progressive that you're calling me a racist and responsible for lynchings and all this stuff, and it's like it's so upsetting that the fucking verbal or the verbal spokespeople of this movement are so mentally ill.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the reasonable people, they don't have time. They're living their lives. They're raising their kids. They have jobs, and then they
living
care about
by
social
example,
issues.
right?
Exactly.
But putting into practice what they believe instead of just preaching lip service. I'm more progressive. Like everybody thinks that I'm this weirdo. I believe in guns. I believe in freedom of speech. Thank you, Katie, for backing me up on the weird thing. But other than that, it's like everything else is fair game to me. I have no issue with gay marriage. I have no issue with do whatever the fuck you want. I have no issue with, getting more people to vote in this. All that shit I'm good with. But I'm so liberal now. Like I saw a guy with a red hat at Forest Hill Station and I had to double because it said Make America Gay Again. And I was like so triggered by the red hat, I beat the shit out of him because I was like, you
Then you
can't
sucked
wear
his
that.
dick.
And then it looked like
After
a
I
gay
read
bashing.
it.
So I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought it was very funny that they have that. But I also don't like the people, the Jewish guy that had a MAGA hat on the other day. Someone was like, you're a
didn't see it.
fucking Nazi. And he took his hat off and he had a yarmulke underneath
way.
it.
That's funny.
That's
Funny. Well, you guys have to fix your settings. You have your settings set so you can't get
but
like
the-
psycho people
No.
messaging you on
Not-
Twitter?
not
Oh yeah,
really.
I do.
How do you do that? There's no psycho attack me button.
Well, if you have somebody who tweets at you that doesn't follow you, you can change the settings so you don't see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm also like, this is my problem, right? Is I am where I am, and I'm trying desperately to level up. So I'm constantly trying to generate interest, generate an audience, and I'm putting out stuff, and I'm trying to interact with them so they stick around.
Yeah.
The problem with that is I'm also reading every negative thing about me and digitally cutting myself on a daily basis.
Yeah, you can't. That's not emotionally healthy. I just had to say, like, I don't have time to go through all that. If someone sends me like a message, I will usually
You do.
respond.
You have that time.
Oh,
You do.
please, I'm busy. I'm working out.
Are you really?
No, I was for a while, but I stopped. I'm going to go back. I have an
You
expensive
look
gym.
wonderful. But you couldn't get fat if you tried.
Well, I'm trying.
Okay.
I'll tell you the secret.
What is it? What
San
do you do?
Antonio.
Eat your feelings.
Yeah.
That's the first part.
You got to get in
But
therapy.
then you feel bad
in
after you
therapy.
eat your feelings, right? Because I do that sometimes.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll eat a
I feel like
whole
garbage.
pizza and I'll be like, "Oh, that was good," and then I'm like, "Oh, what did I do?" And then
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it feels horrible.
yeah. Chocolate bars, you eat those?
No, it's usually like candy. Usually it's carbs.
What type of candies?
It's not candy. Usually it's carbs.
Yeah, I'm a
Oh,
savory
carbs. You,
guy.
you like a
Uh,
bread guy?
Pasta?
Bread-based?
What I started to do is not eat carbs, but I'll eat like way too much like of a meat
Wood.
thing. Yeah, I'm starting eating wood. It's pretty good. Cellulose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just goes through you.
Yeah, sometimes I'll just eat anything. Yeah,
Start
just
eating
eat some
pages
dry
out of
spaghetti
books.
noodles. Yeah,
My
why
asshole
not?
is torn apart, but otherwise, it's
Asshole
fantastic.
looks like a
Yeah.
plywood shed that got set on
Yeah,
fire.
eat some pages. That's good emotional eating. Just eat a
Yeah.
romance novel.
My shit does turn into vodka now.
I like creamy pastas.
Yeah.
You know, like with some
Ooh,
mushrooms in them, maybe.
risotto?
Risotto, I'll fuck up.
Yeah.
Pizza, I like. Steak, I like barbecuing.
Yeah.
Bagels, you eat bagels?
When I'm in the city, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my hands on a good bolognese recipe to make a dinner for my boyfriend, my Italian lover.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I moved right by a fresh pasta place.
You live in my old neighborhood.
Oh, I just moved a bit uptown because I was having a.
You're in the city.
No,
More
uptown
uptown
of
in
Queens.
Queens.
Yeah.
Do you know what you got to get? You got to get the official Sopranos cookbook. So
I love The Sopranos.
my
I watch
wife,
it when I miss
my wife is wildly Italian. Her
Oh my
her
God.
grandmother has taught her every single recipe. Fantastic cook. And then I brought home that, and they have unbelievable recipes.
I gotta
that
get
actually,
it.
Yeah,
I have gotta get
do
it.
it up.
Where
Someday
can I
then.
buy this book?
Probably Barnes and Nobles.
I'm
and
going to
wherever
give it to
books
my
are sold.
stupid wife.
Amazon?
Do you have a deep
Amazon.
discount ad read this week?
Oh, we
No,
don't.
we
But
don't
we
say
love them.
Can I do that, Mike? Can I be like, hey, stupid wife, I brought you this book. Read it, Carmela.
Yeah.
While she cooks it, can I stand over her and breathe heavy through my nose and
Yep.
pretend I'm him?
With a bowl of ice cream, watching
Are they
Loud
all
World
Artie
War II.
Bucco's? They're all Artie Bucco's recipe.
A lot of them are.
Oh, I love Artie.
Oh, I want to get this book. Can I order this book? How much is it?
I don't know.
Can we find
I'm not
this
the
book?
official spokesman. I just,
And then we'll go back to the story.
I
This
just found
show's
it.
great. I love this. I'm going to do this all the
Just
time.
trading some recipes. Just trading a few
I
recipes.
mean, this is great. We're kicking it. I don't think Bobby does this well on this show because he's like meaner to everybody, and we
no, he's
rib
so
each other.
amazing. Please have me back. Bobby.
No, he's not
I
having you
can't wait till
back.
the camping trip.
Yeah. Are you going on the camping trip?
I think I'm gonna go.
You going?
Oh, yeah, I'm going. I'm not going to take my shirt off though because Bobby.
I'm not either.
Yeah, Bobby
I'm
told
aware
me
that-
my nipples are too low.
I took
the
my
last
shirt
time.
off.
Fucking made me want to saw up my chest off.
I took my shirt off 2 years ago at the house party where they let us use the pool because I'm like, I'm going to be the best because like Lewis is there, but he's all bloated, and Bobby's there swimming with like 3 t-shirts on, and then Justin Silver comes out of nowhere,
Yeah, dude.
looking all ripped on his GH and shit, and I look like this old wrestler that gave up after Ric Flair beat him. So I'm like kind of muscly, but there's rolls, and I was like, I'm getting out of here. And I'm not in shirt off shape yet.
No?
I'm really. I got a roll on my lower back.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
upper ass. That's what I call it.
No shit.
And I'm not ready. But I got dad weight on. I'm not.
I'm
in
doing the
good shape.
opposite, dude. I'm like training for fatherhood like it's a fucking heavyweight.
I will
bout.
only go to the camping trip if I have abs out by then.
I will.
Are
I
you
will
staying
have
in a
abs.
tent?
Yeah, I have a tent.
You staying in a tent, Katie?
I don't have a plan. I'm gonna stay with Becky Rodriguez in whatever her tent is,
I don't know who
situation
Becky
is.
Is she gonna bring her RV?
Well, she has like a. I think
what we should do
she's
is rent
very
an
crunchy.
RV.
Yeah, she's crunchy. She
Gabby,
has tools.
can I stay in your tent if you get one?
I don't have a tent yet, but you can.
We have
if
to
I
try
get
to
one.
stay with Becky. I
Becky-
texted her the second I
Wait a
found
minute.
out. I was like,
what's crunchy?
it means like
Granola.
someone's like outdoorsy.
look at-
She knows how
like
to
a hippie
purify
kind of
water.
Yeah.
Like
Really?
She literally
yeah,
she does.
Yeah.
Makes her
Well,
own kombucha.
I wonder if she's
Yeah.
gonna bring her.
Yeah.
I think her camper's in California.
We were planning to do a camping last summer because of apocalypse, and then what? It It just never happens.
Well, when we go, we can do the Sopranos Family Cookbook, $14.97.
Wow.
For a hardcover.
I have the hardcover.
I'm gonna order-
$12.99 for the Kindle.
I got the hardcover.
Oh my God, I'm going to get it.
I'm going to order this book right now. I wanted to bring up this other story. The dictionary is expanding. We talk about words that we should be getting rid of, and now we're talking about words that we should be adding. And they just added the word
Stan.
Yeah.
Salute to Genesis.
Marshall Mathers. Unbelievable.
That's correct.
Is that what it's from? Gig Economy, Quibbit, Garbage Time.
Garbage time.
Purple.
Yeah.
That seems like it's been there, but fine.
Those are new meanings for old words. Snowflake, purple, tailwind, headwind.
That's like one of those
Garbage
things that just
time.
hasn't been ratified yet, but it's still just a part of us.
Garbage time is what I call when I find food in the
Purple's been
garbage.
slang.
Garbage time is what me and my wife call sex night.
Holy shit. Talking about garbage time, I saw fucking just rosacea face Brendan Sagalow yesterday eat a fucking 2 extra bites of his like stuffed burrito over the garbage at Taco Bell
Why?
on 23rd Street because he's a filthy, disgusting human being. He's a human raccoon.
Yeah.
He literally
yeah,
is.
he
He
looks
just
like
grabbed
one,
some kibble, ate it right over the garbage, and then fucking scurried away.
Yeah. I've stopped doing stuff like that. Now,
Good for you.
Yeah, I
You have
barely
self-respect.
eat out of the trash anymore.
Ordered the cookbook.
At least it's home personal trash and not the trash of a fucking fast food place.
Garbage
So-
time is the final moments or minutes of a game in which one
Yes.
side has insurmountable lead.
I could have said that.
I didn't know that.
So it was like when the Leafs lost to the Bruins last night in the last 3 minutes. That was garbage
What's
time.
a Go Cup? Is that like a Diva Cup that fell out of your pussy?
Yeah.
That's what it should be, but
Plastic
no.
or
It's when you
paper
take
cup?
an
New
alcoholic
definition.
drink out of a bar.
You have to wash it off and pop it right back up.
Yeah,
another-
that's why I've never got one because it's like you have to just cleanse it in the sink of whatever dive bar you happen to be in. Hey, don't come in. Doing
So-
some surgery.
What's the exact definition of stan?
To
An obsessive fan.
Yeah, obsessive fan of a
It's the
celebrity.
it's Eminem's song.
Yeah.
But it's become part so like it was so synonymous with just like overzealous fan that everybody uses it now.
Yeah.
Just feels like Merriam-Webster's now trying to compete with Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
Like we have,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
just relax, Merriam-Webster. They're like, we need to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Oh,
just be an old school
Just
dictionary.
be an old school dictionary. Nobody's going here to look up millennial terms.
Yeah.
Somebody should do like a comedian dictionary, and it should be 1 page long, and then they should quit.
You know, it is fun. Comedic, we have like our own lexicon, you know?
They did add
Top
some words.
surgery,
Yeah.
a type of gender confirmation surgery in which a person's breasts are removed or augmented to match their gender identity.
Yeah.
They have
Bottom
some real
surgery.
words now too. So
Tremology, that sounds topical.
I feel like that's just not a creative enough term. Bottom surgery.
it used to be called dick shopping, and they finally fixed it. So.
How's your bottom puss or hangout parts doing? I'm a doctor. Horrible.
How's your puss doing?
Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
not
it's like, well, that's
technical.
why you don't get the budget trans surgery. You don't want to go to the Philippines.
In Canada, they pay for it. In Canada.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, there's a comic there, a trans comic, who was a woman and now is a man. And the government, like the healthcare pays for it. So she
That's
had her
good.
breast taken off and then put a lovely photo up online, which you're free to throw up at. And
Oh boy.
it's a lot to look at. There's
Is it?
scars and everything.
Yeah, so what?
It's
I
a lot.
think the government should pay for it because I don't want to get another crowdfunding invite.
Do people ask for that?
I've gotten a couple. It's like, no, this is for your family, okay?
Yeah.
It's for your family. You should have saved the money from the first communion. I can't contribute.
I've seen a trans vagina. I've never seen a trans penis. Have you guys seen it?
Where did you see your
I
trans
saw my
vagina?
friend's
On porn.
vagina.
Like just yeah, I've seen
Your
it on
friend's
porn.
trans vagina?
No, I just saw her vagina.
Ah,
She showed me because she got her pussy hair lasered off.
nice.
exciting.
Yeah, but now she has like a little bit, but it's
I
just
would
a
like
little
to see
peach
this
fuzz.
as well.
Sarah, call in, girl. She's a yoga teacher. She's a yoga
Hello.
She's 3 months post chemo now.
teacher. No, she's
some
very hot.
spot.
She's she's very yoga sexy.
Yeah.
She's one of those yoga girls. She has a lot of tattoos, little purple highlights in the hair.
Is
tight
that
ass.
rare though? I mean, this is
Purple
great.
highlights?
I shouldn't have cut you off, but is that rare for you to see your friends' vaginas?
Well, this girl's vagina I've seen a couple times because she likes to walk around naked
Where?
in her house if I
Oh.
stay over. This is my best girlfriend from high school. But I don't feel like we don't really show each other our vaginas that often.
You guys
right?
fart in front of each other?
Boobs, maybe.
Yeah.
Just because everyone's
Boobies,
changing.
yeah. Or I mean, like I see people's vagina at the locker room.
I mean, you
But
kind
just
of
see the
got
top
to
of
look,
it.
though. It's not
just see the top of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
You're
you
not-
have to really be like wide open.
That's probably a guy thing.
Whoops,
to
I
just
dropped
pull
my
it out.
handheld mirror.
Oh, mirror shoes. Pardon me. Just like them. It's just me trying to learn about if my vagina's normal. But that's a big thing now because there's so many different vaginas. Not all girls know if their like labia are normal. So
Yeah.
we had to write like a ton of articles about it. But I remember when I was like 14, I was like, my pussy kind of looks weird. I don't know. And then I just forgot about it. And then no complaints. But then a few years ago when it was like, are you an innie? Are you an outie? It's like, well, that's actually there's like 9 different types of vaginas. It's not just innie and outie. So I was like, I don't know.
They had that in the book,
no
What's
idea.
Happening to My Body? Because my mom bought me that when I was
that's fun.
like
I wish I
12,
had
and the
that.
illustrations kind of showed the different, like, outer lips,
Yeah.
inner,
I had-
all
I
that
Kicked
stuff.
in pumpkin, the old Swedish fish. Kissy
Oh, I think that's the one
Magoo,
I have.
Jimmy
Swedish
J.J.
fish.
Walker lips. What else do they have?
I just got a brochure that said
The puckering duck.
The Predator's dreadlocks.
Yeah.
can
Beto O'Rourke.
Can we please stop?
By the way, $10 on Amazon.
But that's not to say that there aren't quite
That's
a bit
the
of
Sopranos
penile
cookbook.
flavors.
I don't think any men would ever complain to women about their vagina.
No, but people have though, and that's why like a lot of young girls
have
like,
said
get
like, "Oh, your
complexes.
pussy's weird."
Yes,
like, come
yes.
on.
No, a
That's
lot of
why
guys.
some girls get the labia.
Guys don't talk shit about it. Like
Right,
we'll be
but
like, "Oh,
also-
that girl's pussy looked like a dirt bike
Yeah,
track
well,
on
we
a
say
Sunday."
mean
also-
shit about wieners though.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
also
That's
have
true.
to understand that, like, I have this, and it's something I fight actively. Is I'm
A
pretty
pussy?
I'm pretty fragile, yes, but also like so if I think like I didn't perform well, the first instinct is to like make fun of something on her. So how many guys that like come too quick are like your pussy's weird? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In response to their own inability to fuck.
But you wouldn't say that to a girl
Oh,
at
no,
a lot of
people
guys
do
would.
that.
A lot of
People
guys
do.
would.
Yeah,
Get
and it's
the
like
fuck
it's
out.
like these younger
the whole thing.
guys, yeah, they're
Did you ever come in your pants?
Yes.
Yeah, I did too. I was with a girl at college, and we were making out and dry hump, and I came in my pants.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. I got up and like went and washed my dick in the sink and had to throw my underwear out. Like I was so
Oh man,
embarrassed.
I did
Yeah.
it at a place where I could not clean, so I was just legitimately like it was
Where?
cold and wet until I had to just go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
It's a
Where
very
I was at a
uncomfortable
party.
feeling if you wait too
it was,
long,
it was a
too.
party. It was like an outdoor thing. There was no bathrooms. There was no toilet paper. It was
You were
just,
making out with a girl or something?
Yeah, I mean there was some heavy petting and some other childish fun, but yeah.
I never came in my pants, but one time I had a dream that I was looking at a waterfall and there was a rainbow in front of it, and I had an orgasm in my dream.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun. I just
Oh,
made
I've
myself come
had-
looking at a waterfall.
Do you have? Is that normal for women? Because I've had like 50 wet dreams in my life, which
I don't
apparently
think
is a
it's
lot.
that normal,
I've had
but I googled
maybe
it.
that many.
I googled it and it said if you think you came in your dream, you probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, isn't that fun?
I
When-
come way more from dreams than I do in life.
The other
Do you,
day.
is it a sex dream or is it more like you're just looking at a beautiful landscape?
No, it's sex dreams. I've had
Yeah.
lucid sex dreams too, where it's like that's like the only time I can cheat on my wife.
Yeah.
It's like in my dream being conscious, and I'm like, wow, I have an opportunity to have sex. Let's dip it.
It's so awesome when you're having a sex dream. You're like,
yeah,
oh,
and I'm
I
just
can't
next to her,
believe that.
furiously jerking
But
off in the same bed.
in my sex dreams, I'll be like, my wife's coming home. Like that. I'll
Oh
be
yeah,
thinking
no, of
that.
course.
Oh, that's
my brain
nerve-wracking.
ruins it more often than not.
Yeah.
Actually, in the dream, I still don't allow myself to cheat sometimes because I'm not fully
Yeah, but
aware. of
I
Like
not
to a
like
ruined ottoman.
I nut like a maniac in my. But it's only when I'm really tired. Like if I've been on the road and traveling a lot, and then I fall asleep in a hotel. But it happens less and less now. My wife, the other day, we did sex with consent, and we're going. And I was whenever she comes, that makes me want to come.
Yeah.
When she's coming, and she says stuff like, "Look at me," like she does that.
It's like the
Yeah,
Joker.
my wife- Look at me. But I always have to because I never used to be intimate when I had sex because I was like damaged, so I'd like shut my eyes and think of other
Oh,
stuff.
you sweet little boy. No, I can't. You're just squeezing your toes, trying not to come.
No, I have to look at my wife when we have sex now, but when she comes and I'll see like her eyes roll back and then I get all excited, even if I'm not ready to come, then I come right. So the other day I started making it. She goes, no, don't come, pull out. And I pulled out and tried to squeeze, but it just like literally went everywhere like a gusher.
There's also nothing that ensures coming more than yelling,
don't come. Yeah.
For whatever reason, that is like the extra push off the cliff.
It's so hard not to just like, oh God, it's good. Married sex is all right.
Aaron, you just came now.
You said don't come.
That's why we have the tarp.
Get me out of here.
Are you having sex?
Yeah,
Wife
but I
is
have to
pregnant?
wear condoms.
Why is that?
Because I went to Aruba and there's like some
hookers.
No, there's Zika. There's still Zika. So and the test for it is kind of inconclusive. There's a lot of false negatives.
I
So
went to Aruba. Could I have Zika?
maybe, but you're not with child, right?
That was a weird way to find
face
out.
moved before words came out. That was
I don't know. I haven't had my
fantastic.
period in a while.
Well, who knows?
6 months.
Yeah.
Wow. We'll
Yeah, is
give
that
birth at the
weird?
same time.
Putting on weight mostly here. Not so much here or here, but right here.
But yeah, so that's it's kind of been interesting.
Did a doctor tell you that or you just researched that online?
Researched it, and the doctor told us that there's a lot of false negatives. She's like, you probably can. It's probably not gonna, but I don't want to risk
Yeah, you can't take chances.
Beetlejuicing my kid's head. You know, yeah. Although it's an Irish kid, so it'll probably turn it normal. It'll just be a human-sized head.
My wife thinks that we conceived in St. Lucia, and there was Zika there at the time, but I think we conceived before we went there. But we were fucking
dude,
like crazy.
I did the night before I left for the Middle East like a true soldier. I literally, we were having sex. I was really stealing valor, and I just dropped one in her.
Yeah.
And then came home. And Thank
Did
God
you
I came
feel
home.
it when you did? Because I remember the time I got my wife pregnant. I could feel it. Like we were making love, and I could feel when I was coming, and I was like, "Oh, this is the one."
Yeah, it's like
I really
the end
knew
of
that.
Independence Day when he
Piper.
flies up the blue light.
As I came, Piper, and then collapsed. Wife goes, "What did you say about a viper?" Shut up! You're ruining it. You told me not to come.
Are you guys going to do a big second birthday party this year?
Oh boy,
The
it's
luau
coming
was
soon.
fun.
We had a good luau. That was a horrible day.
lovely.
You didn't
Yeah.
get to see that horrible day.
Well, when I got there, everything was calmed down and lovely.
Why? Piper's first birthday, she fell off the bed for the first time, hit her head, got this huge golf ball. I took her to the hospital. My wife and I are going at each other like within fucking inches of like a fist fight, and then everybody came over, and it was fine, and the day went great. But it was such a horrible lead up to that, and that was because we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment for like the first year and a half of our baby's life. Are you in a bigger place now?
2-bedroom, yeah. So
we
we're
were
gonna stay
going
there for
mental.
a little while.
We were fucking on top of each other nonstop. And then
But you guys have a house now.
We have a house. It's wonderful.
Do you love it?
Yeah, we get along so much
Oh,
better.
it's great.
Get along so much
How
better.
many is it 2 floors?
3 floors. We have a basement too.
wow, that's
Garage,
crazy.
backyard,
Wow.
Forest Hills. It's great. Yeah, it's lovely. It's such a great place to live. It's very
Forest Hills, I think that's where Scrabble was invented. Thank
Scrabble?
you, Scrabble.
Oh,
Scrabble the game.
Scrapple's a Pennsylvania
That's
food.
a meat, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
You never had Scrapple?
Both equally
It's a
interesting.
white trash specialty, yeah.
What other stories do we have? I think
Usually
we ran
people
out of
who
stories.
eat Scrapple do not play Scrabble.
No.
Mutually exclusive.
It's a hillbilly food, right?
a hillbilly
What would
food.
you compare it to? Like bacon or ham?
Leftovers. We got some meetups.
I saw Brandon Sagalow eating this over a trash can. You want some Scrapple? That looks like Chipotle. Have you been out to eat anywhere good?
Oh, it
Did you
looks
go
like
out for
meatloaf.
dinner?
Oh, I just went to Taverna Kaiklides.
Oh,
I don't know how it's pronounced,
that's in
but I think it's
Astoria.
Dolphin Tavern.
I was like, what'd you just call Aaron?
Kaiklides. Being an annoying white woman. I believe it means dolphins.
The running of the Jew. Yeah, it's a place in Astoria.
It's supposed to be one of the best Greek restaurants in the whole
in
city.
New York. Yeah. What about
We
you?
went-
Where'd you go eat?
For what?
Anywhere.
In
you
life?
gone out to eat recently with your wife? You gone for a date?
Yeah, I mean, for my birthday, I did the underneath Alamo Draft House in Brooklyn. Have you been there? Where they have all those little carts and shit like that, and it's all local Brooklyn famous food, like the best sandwiches, all this stuff. And I did that, and we like kind of got from all of the different things, and it was the best birthday ever. It's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, super fun.
That's fun.
Where'd you go,
That's
Gab?
great.
I don't know. I'm a vegan. I'm not that fun.
You go to
yeah, I forgot
you go
that
to
about you.
V-Spot in the
Yeah.
Village.
I love V-Spot.
Yeah.
V-Spot.
Yeah.
I like their food too, and I don't usually like vegan stuff. I love the quesadillas.
So good.
Oh my god.
So good.
Oh my god, I eat it. I just go vegan.
I worked with a 400-pound vegan like 3 weeks ago.
How?
Yeah,
I
sugar
don't
is
know.
allowed in that
Yeah,
religion.
That's
well,
true. It's
yeah,
just
he joked.
chips.
He joked that Oreos are vegan.
Just a bag of. I heard that the middle of Oreos was lard, though.
It used to be, but they changed it to
Oreos are
facilitate
vegan.
fat
Oreos
vegs.
are vegan.
All right. Where do you like to eat?
Everywhere, obviously. But I like Greek food a lot, actually.
Have you been to Taverna Kaklidis?
Not yet.
The eye of the dolphin.
That's its butthole.
Where'd you eat? Where'd you eat?
I eat in mostly, like prepare my own food.
Somebody's got to
Slaughters
stick
it
up his own
himself.
ass.
He has to cut
I
it
live
the right
next
way.
to Owen Benjamin, and what I like to do is take the owls that he lets live.
Oh, my Flat Earth fucking ex-podcast co-host is doing his cabin show today, whatever, or wherever Owen has extra.
I have
has
stopped.
exiled himself.
I don't follow Owen, and I don't watch his stuff. I think he puts out a lot of stuff that is not very pro-Jew.
It's not very pro-intelligence. Yeah.
So I think he's on Instagram still. So once in a while I'll watch him on Instagram and stuff like that. But I think he went through the eye of the needle. I would.
Yeah.
imagine.
What a once promising act.
And I saw him maybe a year ago at Gotham, and I think it was like a stat. I think like that week Steve Byrne was headlining, and like Seinfeld came by and Chappelle, and I think Benjamin did a guest spot, and it was like a big drop.
Wow,
in
he
it.
brought his piano on stage
Yes.
for 5 full minutes.
There was a piano, and I think it was like 15 minutes of, and I was shocked to see that was his comedy, and then off stage,
of course. He's
it's
real heroic when
incredibly
nobody's in
shocking.
front of him.
But
I don't like him because I met him once at like a party, and I was with his friends, and he's just like, he's one of those fucking LA douchebags that just looks over your head the entire time to see who more important is walking in.
So let me
Not
ask-
to mention his just verbal diarrhea is that of, it's not original, it's racist horseshit, and he's a fucking moron. Suck my dick.
Do you think he
Fucking drag him to hell.
Who gives a shit? I don't even know him. Fuck
does
him.
he have enough money now where he's and I know he's not working or doing, but does he have enough? What he was on a sitcom or whatever with?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does great.
But is that? I don't know if he does great. But is that enough money to be like fuck everybody, fuck the industry?
He still has
I'm just
people
gonna
that
say-
subscribe to him. You
Yeah.
know, he has his people that I'm sure I'm going to get tweets from to calling me a cuck fag or whatever the hell
Yeah.
is their new verbiage.
So
Fat Cannon?
Yeah. Well, that's my gas digital name, Colossal FAG, which is pretty
Is it?
sweet. Yeah.
So I wonder if he.
Yeah, I express empathy sometimes, which inherently makes me homosexual.
Real quick, we do have to do this announcement. Laughable.com. It's the app you want to go to find all your favorite podcasts and comedians. Now available on Apple and Android. So
Hi, Ned.
Ned, what a
Ned.
serial killer that guy is. Just
I
an
love
unblinking
him.
maniac.
Doesn't blink. So kind, though.
I love Ned.
I love him.
the
I
fa-
love his vest.
I
He's
love the
always
fact
got a
that he
fleece
just-
vest, looking very smart.
Think about what a psychopath sat there and hand tagged every single comedian that did every single podcast. I mean, that guy is capable of some dark shit.
And he uses his talents for good.
I love Ned.
and Cellar Vegas. Bobby will be there the last week of May. So go there if you're going to be in Vegas. Go by Cellar Vegas at the Rio.
What a great room, by the way.
Yeah, you were just there recently.
I was there last, I think, October or November, but it's fantastic. It's set up exactly like the Village Underground. It's fucking great. I highly recommend people go out there.
Awesome.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, and the Rio's fun too. They have the Masquerade Village, which is kind of a shell.
What's that?
But,
the Rio is like if an Ed Hardy shirt became a building.
Yeah. It's
I
perfectly
fucking
succinct.
loved Ed Hardy shirts. I bought 3 of them.
There has never been a least
3 of
surprising
them,
thing said on this
and-
show.
And one was like with the sparkles and the
Oh,
hat
yeah.
and the snakes, and
I
they were
bought
like
some new blouses today.
$140.
I bought some new blouses today. I was keeping them in the bag in case we run out of stuff to talk about, and then I
The
will be
blouses?
showing my blouses. I might wear this one to Taverna Kaklidis.
Do they still make Ed Hardy shirts?
My
or
parents
did he
used to
go out
wear
of
Ed
business?
Hardy's
Yeah.
so much.
Your parents did?
My parents constantly, every day.
Why?
I don't know. They loved it.
I love Aaron said, why?
I was doing cocaine at the time, and it all made sense to me, and it just really felt like, and celebrities were wearing it, which was why it seemed super
Yeah.
cool at the time. I got us a feel-good story, Cannon, that you loved it. But I've never been to Vegas before, by the way. I've still never been to Vegas. Never. People say I would either like it or hate it.
You're sober, so I don't know.
I would smoke cigars, I guess.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say crack.
It feels like the
weed's
Las
legal
Vegas
there now,
Strip
too,
is just
right?
like Times Square. You know,
Really?
it's like why don't you
Old
just go to
Vegas
Times
is
Square?
much better.
Yeah.
Old Vegas is cool as shit.
Do you gamble?
No.
Yeah.
I play penny slots.
Yeah.
I go to the Borgata here, and I'll sit down and take like $100 and pay penny slots, smoke a cigar, and drink an O'Doul's.
The first
And
time
that's
I
a
went
day.
to Vegas.
What an awful day.
Yeah, it's a day.
The
And I
first
love
time
it.
I went to Vegas, I did it the right way. I was like 21. I went. My friend was there. I went with my girlfriend, and she lived there, and so she knew she had friends who were like hosts, and they would host all these guys, and she would do table modeling, and so I stayed with her for a little while, and I got to do it too. It's where the guys will be like, "Oh, do you want models to your table?" And then we would just hang out with these guys all night, and then they would give us like $100 each
For
and
sex?
No, just to hang out. And then
No,
if
for blowjobs.
you wanted to go home with them, then you can like arrange it.
So
You can
you're
arrange
saying-
it. Can you please stop cutting me off?
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Started an ad out of
Katie was a
nowhere.
hooker, for
I was a
Christ's
hooker.
sake.
Well,
This is
no,
a huge story.
If you want to go home with a guy, then
Wait,
you arrange
go back,
it yourself.
go back. So where was this?
This is in Vegas.
Okay, so you lived there for a bit?
No, my girlfriend lived there, and then
This is the one whose
this
vagina,
I
you
saw.
Oh, of
And then
course.
I would go stay with her,
Yeah.
and so we would do the table modeling. But basically,
So was there an agency or something? Or
no, it was just her friend who he was a host, and like people would come,
A
but he was a
host.
host.
Oh, like a promoter.
There's another
promoter.
four-letter word
Did you have
for
to wear
host. P-I-M-P.
an outfit?
We just
Appeal.
dressed up.
So you dressed
we dressed
nicely.
up. And they would get like people anything that they wanted. But they would say, would you like some girls to come to the table?
Yeah.
And so then we would just hang out at the table. We would just hang out and drink with them.
And they'd be playing like craps or something, and you'd be like, yeah.
Well, no, at like the table service in the club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so then at the end of the night, we would get like $100. And if you wanted to go home with the guy, then you would arrange it yourself. But I was always like so fucked up. I was blacking out a lot at this time. My friend was like, she would never even drink. Thank God, because I would just like go home. You know, I was like practically going home with somebody being like, I think he likes me. I think he said he's going to call me from Florida. You know? So
But you were
luckily
trying
I never.
to charge these guys, or you were just like,
No,
oh,
I just
wanna
thought
go
I was
sex
meeting
with-
somebody. I was like, I think I found a boyfriend.
You were in the sex trade.
Well,
Lightly.
I never ended up going home with someone because my friend, she was always like the tight laced
The
one.
voice
She
of
would
reason.
drag me home.
Let's get home. I got to laser my pussy.
Yeah.
I'm on a schedule.
Yeah.
Come on, Katie. I'm growing in 3 hairs. We got issues here. That's awesome.
insane.
Yeah.
I
We had a
didn't know
good
that
time.
about
We had a
you.
great time.
You enjoyed it.
This is when I would drink a lot, so I would get fucked up. My ass would be like hanging out of the back of my skirt. You know, we would be like in the infinity
You like
pool.
fall over drunk.
Oh yeah.
Not a good place to be.
No, it was tough. It was a little scary for a while there.
Yeah.
But I got myself righted. Now I just have a couple cocktails.
That's
know.
it.
That's it.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not a man of moderation. Feel good story. You ready for it? You're gonna love this. Armenian Genocide Remembrance March.
Oh.
Remember the Armenian Genocide?
Yeah.
You're Armenian.
No.
Oh.
That's where Ray's Pizza is from in New York City.
Armenia?
It's Armenian pizza, yeah.
We grew up with, I had neighbors about 4 houses down. They were Armenian. We didn't know what Armenian meant. I think the girl's name was Lula.
That's a cute name.
Yeah. And the other guy, I forget, but I was friendly with both of them. And the girl had very hairy arms, and we thought that was an Armenian trait. So I'm not sure if all Armenians share that, but I had no idea about this genocide. Which
Oh, wow. The
pales in
Kardashians are
comparison.
Armenian.
Yes. So some people would claim that they would want. Did you know there was a genocide in Armenia, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, Turkish people.
And they're celebrating it today in L.A.
They're celebrating it.
Yeah.
The genocide?
Yeah, well, it's like a remembrance march.
Are the Kardashians?
I guess 1.5 million people died. Now, how many?
Aren't they Armenian?
Well,
Aren't they the most
200,000 people
Yeah.
of Armenian descent live in L.A., which is another reason why you would not want to move to L.A. And at 1 p.m., the Armenian National Committee of American... All right, we get it. You're cops. We're trying to do a show here. The fuck,
Aaron,
man?
that's so against brand. I thought you supported the police.
I do. I'll make a donation to the Suffolk County. So I don't know. There was an Armenian genocide, and I thought we could get something funny out of it.
Oh.
I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything mean though.
Could someone get Owen Benjamin on the phone? On the Armenian genocide. I'm doing a show tonight at New York Comedy Club. And the name of the show, and I'm not just plugging this, but I want to bring it up as a topic, is called Your Hood's a Joke. And it's a roast battle where people don't battle each other. They battle neighborhoods. So it's Upper East Side versus Lower East Side. New Jersey versus Long Island, which seems like it's not my show. It's a show that Dinesh Anwar did. He's a Toronto-based comic. They've done it in Toronto, Bangkok, London, sells at the Comedy Store. So it seems like a surefire hit. So it's coming here to New York for the first time tonight. And it sells out everywhere. And we have sold 6 tickets. So, so I have no idea. And he said to me, he goes, why are the tickets not selling? And I said, I don't know. Like, I don't produce ever. So I was like, I'll do this show because they're in talks to get it a TV show. Personally, I think roast battles have jumped the fucking shark.
Yeah.
I think it's done. And I think in New York, I think people are like, why do we need to go see another roast battle? And I know The Stand had great ones, but they were kind of dwindling towards the end. New York's are great, but it's not like it's not rammed like it used to be. I don't think people go ape shit over these battles.
It's fun to do every now and then. It's fun to do one every now and then, but it's like, to be doing it constantly. I don't think people really like to do that.
That's why I like judging, because I never had to prepare, and I could just tear down people that spent a lot of time on their jokes.
Yeah, it's a lot of preparation and for like one show.
I like judging with you because you get super high and like halfway
weird.
through you're like, I'm so high. He's like a kid.
I get weird. Yamanika and I take about 150 milligrams of THC every single time, and at some point we lock eyes, recognize that we're both on a celestial plane, and then just kind of go from there. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, a Cinderella story comedy show. Oh, this is another show I'm on tonight.
Your jawline looks great in that pic, though, kid.
Boy, I got to lose that extra 30 pounds I put on because the baby. I'm telling you, it's a big difference.
You're already blaming her.
Who? You did this to your father. So I don't know if it's. I don't know if the show's going to happen again. I mean, they wanted to do it like a monthly thing, but I'm like, if nobody's coming to the show, why do I have to be attached to this thing? And I'm also still reeling from my hockey team losing last night. The Leafs are out. I decided I'm not going to be a Leaf fan anymore, which is a hard thing to say. And I got more hate on Twitter for that than anything political I've ever said. I'm like, I'm done.
Insane.
If the Leafs lose, I'm no longer a fan. I will become a New York Islanders fan. So all these Islanders fans are like, go fuck yourself. We don't want you. You're a bandwagon fan. Leafs fans are like, good riddance. I've been a fan for 36 years and given tens of thousands of dollars. My dad was a season ticket holder, given hundreds of thousands of dollars to a franchise that's not willing to improve themselves. So I'm like, why should I keep doing that? I'm part of the problem with professional sports because the team's not going to get better.
Yeah.
I can go get great Islanders seats and get an all-you-can-eat buffet for like $200 a seat.
Yeah.
Why don't I do that? And I could take Chris Italia, my manager down there. He could just eat pizza and pretend to watch the game.
Sounds like you're going through a divorce.
It's really been hard on me.
Bet.
It's really been hard on me. But I'm like, I'm also 46, going on 40. What do I need to fucking give a shit about a hockey team?
Is your father still around?
Yeah, but I talked to my dad today, and I go, that's it. He goes, yeah, I'm going to sell all the tickets for next year.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's not going to get rid of the license, like he has the license for those seats, but he's done with it, too.
Because I thought that would almost be like being an Orthodox something and then going away and then coming back and be like, I no longer believe.
The reason I'm a fan of that team is because my dad, when I was 8 years old, came and pulled me out of school one day, and he goes, we're going to the hockey game tonight. And I was so excited, and we went down to this restaurant, and I got to have bacon and eggs for dinner, which you never get, and then we had apple pie and went to this hockey game and the team won. So I always had this place in my heart for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And, my dad was sick for a while, so I'd fly back and we'd go watch these games. And now I'm done. And that's it. And I'm fucking checking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can still like your dad without sports.
Yeah. That's exactly it. You're
Tell me
right,
what that's
Katie.
like.
Yeah, I don't like sports. I've never been able to get in. I do not understand it at all. But I like cute animal posters.
Yeah.
That's something.
Calendars of baby animals.
Now imagine if you could get those posters to play together to achieve a together goal.
A together goal.
A together goal. I had another word and then my brain skipped, and that was
There's
what
also
came
a
out.
thing with middle-aged men. Why we like sports is because it's like,
You're gay.
Yeah.
it's good. We love sucking dicks in steam rooms.
I do like I like poring over the male body.
I like a pouring over the mailbox.
I mean, I was watching Dame Lillard last night, and I was trying to figure out how to achieve that physique.
Yeah. Rick Overton, who I saw years ago, who was a really good comic. He was on that Showtime show, I'm Dying Up Here. He played like the Carson Booker.
Which I think I'm in the minority. I genuinely like that show.
I loved that show.
Yeah, I really liked
I thought it was way better than Crashing, and I loved the period piece aspect of it. I thought it really captured
I thought Andrew
a great
Santino
time.
was a fantastic actor.
Everybody on that show was great. Eric
great.
Griffin was great. They shouldn't have canceled that show. But the point I was getting at was what? What was I talking about? Rick Overton. He had this great line. I saw him headline Yuck Yucks years ago, and he's like, he goes, I'll look at men's bodies all the time, but because I'm comparative, not gay. It was just like this. I was like, yeah, that's why. Because you see like a real jack dude, and you're like,
Yeah, I tried to make a joke work that never would. It was more of a premise about how I'm not gay, but I would like to take men's bodies out for a spin.
Yeah.
I would like to wear maybe somebody just to see what it's like to be that wanted.
Yeah.
Have you seen Rocky 3?
Yes.
You know, at the very end when they're about to do their sparring, the way they're talking to each other?
Yeah.
When you listen to that, it sounds like they're about
to fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Why, what did
well,
they say?
even the way they move around each other,
Ivan
it's very
Drago.
light on the feet.
Ding, ding.
Yeah. A little limp wrist right beforehand, too.
Yep.
I mean, talk about body. Carl Weathers in that movie is like a symmetrical
Weathers,
perfection.
He was great in Arrested Development.
Was he?
He was the coach.
Yeah,
He's
Carl
the
Weathers.
coach of,
By the way,
the acting
Henry
coach.
Winkler is brilliant on Barry right now.
I keep hearing that I should watch that.
I watched the first episode. I couldn't get into it. But I do love
it's a
Henry
great show.
Winkler.
Yeah.
I love him.
All right, so this is what we call a commercial, and they show these on some things now on YouTube. If you watch, that's a girl playing a guitar. It's nationwide. It's an insurance company. That's how they get you. All right,
ready?
Here it is. This.
I know, but this is extremely crazy.
Yeah, it's mentally crazy, right?
Yeah.
But it makes all the sense in the world. Now, you owe me a favor.
I know, but what'd you think of this?
About 3 years ago.
Oh, it's very crazy, Apollo.
Look, Stallion. Now, look, when you run that last fight, you won by 1 second. You beat me by 1 second. 1 second. That's very hard for a man of my intelligence to handle.
Oh, is it? But didn't you say after I beat you, you learned how to live with it?
I lied.
Oh, you lied.
So now you're gonna fuck me.
They're all oiled up.
Yeah.
No TV, no newspapers, just you and me.
No condoms.
You and me. Anything you say, Stallion.
I do all the work, okay?
I'll do all the work. You just lay there, Apollo.
They're already a little sweaty too. Like he's Enrique Iglesias. He's fucking misty.
You gotta remember now. You fight great, but I'm a great fighter.
Yeah, but this was back when like homoerotic was just considered like being a friend, you know? Why don't you come over and take off your shirt and I'll give you a back rub, friend?
Right. So we're gonna still be buddies after this, right?
Did you do group jerks when you were coming up?
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you? Do women do
No.
that?
No,
women don't do that.
There's not a friend masturbation.
We
type?
did like a fashion show once where we dressed a little sexy, but I think that was
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
But I think we were just like, go girl, you could get a boyfriend.
I look great in that.
Yeah.
I wonder if more people than just people in comedy have done those. I mean, they must, because we jerked our dicks with other guys that didn't go into comedy.
Yeah.
But when you get into comedy, you hear a lot of guys
'Cause
tell
you
that
talk.
story.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you jerked off in front of other guys, right? And you're like, oh, I thought that was only me. I was
Well,
going
and
to
this-
hang myself.
And this
Yeah.
is before iPads and iPhones, so nobody had an individual source of media. We were all kind of gathered around the television in
Yeah.
a very communal masturbation
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Playboy magazines and stuff. It was really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
It was
fun.
really.
Just keep punching, Apollo.
Just keep punching it, Apollo. It'll loosen up.
Want to ring the bell?
All right.
Ding,
Ding,
ding. Time to fuck.
That's why he really helps his son out in Rocky 6.
Because he thinks he's gay.
Yeah.
I bet that son went on to be gay. Is that his real son?
It's, no.
Not Rocky 6, the other one. Well, when he fights Tommy AIDS Gun Morrison.
Oh, and part 5.
No, you don't want
They get it strange. Rocky Balboa, I think his son probably is gay. They don't really say it, but it really kind of comes out.
No, he has a kid with a wife, and that's where Rocky goes at the end of Creed 2.
Oh, yeah, I still think
Spoiler
he's gay.
alert.
Did you guys see Abducted in Plain Sight? Did
Yes.
anybody see that?
Yeah.
It reminds me of the scene where the dad has the full confessional about how the guy just asked him to give
Jerk
him
him
a hand
off.
job
Yeah.
in the car, and he was like, well, it's just boys being boys, and the guy was like, okay, but
Yeah.
also you're like, well, is that the whole story?
You think he blew him?
I think maybe they had like a thing going on.
So
multiple
you're saying
times.
you don't believe all men? You think?
I don't believe any men.
Yeah.
I don't believe any men.
I ask women that now in the audience, and I go, "Do you believe all women?" And shockingly, it's about 70-30 women say no. Like I'll go, "Do you believe?"
70 say no, 30 say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30% will be like, "Yeah."
Well, I mean, I think
misogyny.
believe all women, that slogan is not meant to be taken literally. I don't think it's meant to be taken literally. I think it's meant to be like, we need to focus on believing women who say that they've been raped. Let's err on the side of belief for someone who says that they've been raped instead of erring on the side of them telling a story, which is what it's been time and time again.
I can understand that and empathize with
But
that.
I don't think it means like, well, no woman has ever lied,
But
and
then the
I'll
slogan
stand by
is bad.
that.
Then the slogan is bad.
Well, I didn't
if
come up with
if-
it.
I know.
I will not be criticized for my slogan.
But it's kind of like, it's one of those things where I have friends that do the all white men are this or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, we're friends and you know that that's not me. Then they're like, well, if you get offended by this, then you're clearly the white guy that falls into this. And it's like, no, your message is bad. You cast too wide of a net.
Yeah.
You should have specified. Your message is
But I don't know.
poorly communicated.
Can we fact check? Is it believe all women? Is that the slogan, or is it believe women, or is it yes all women? Because I
think
feel
it's
like
believe
believe
Yes all women.
Believe all
it's
women.
yes all women.
It's
Yes all women. It's yes all women. We need
This
to start-
message brought to you by Alana Glazer.
Because I
Yes,
think
all
it's,
women.
I think the slogan was actually believe women.
There's that one
Believe
too.
I think so too, yeah.
Believe women versus believe all women, and see how many.
But that's true.
'Cause,
Like stuff gets co-opted and manipulated for people to intentionally turn on it. That happens
Right.
all the time.
Yeah, there's like
Yes.
extremes,
Yeah.
like the
Believe
Boston
women comes up
bomber
first.
example the other
Yeah,
night was
believe
like, wait a
women.
minute, you're going from asking if criminals should vote to should the most violent criminal be able to
Yeah.
vote? And it's like the extreme examples.
So we did just find out it's believe women.
It's believe
Yeah.
women, but yes all women. So
And so that could be for
What
that's
about
just
believe
saying
all
yes.
women?
Yes all
It's
women.
not believe all
That's
women?
Not a
That's a Jim
sentence.
Carrey
that's what comes
movie.
up first.
Yeah.
Yes, all women.
Believe
But
women
believe
comes
women,
up
yeah.
first. So I think that whole like movement is more like, let's take a moment to listen to someone's story who's claiming, quote unquote, that they've been raped, because it's unlikely that a woman makes a false accusation of rape, not to say that it's never happened, but the probability of that is, let's just err on the side of believing somebody, believing their story, and investigating it
Well,
fully.
yeah. What is the harm in approaching stuff with empathy?
Yeah.
So what is the harm in
Yeah.
being like, okay, you're a victim. Whatever's happening here, something happened. So let's kind of let's handle
let's
this
just
and thoroughly
approach it with
investigate.
empathy instead of being like, well, you can't prove it,
Yeah.
fuck you, which is what people who are survivors have heard for years and years, and I think
Right.
that's the frustration that.
Well, even look at this woman that just came out against Luke Walton. Have you heard about this? He's the ex-LA Laker coach who's now just got
we had
hired
the
by
battery
Sacramento
on the
Kings.
show yesterday.
What,
We
battery?
did. Yeah, she accused him of battery, so I pretended it was a battery that was being interviewed. A
That's a fun
9-volt,
pun.
the N-word of the battery.
Oh
world.
no!
Yes. All right, go
so
ahead.
she didn't come out. This happened years ago. She didn't report it to the police,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a compelling story because everything that she says does line up with the things that you learn about victims, right?
Yeah.
Is that they're immediately frightened that their future is going to be put in jeopardy. This is technically a powerful guy that has a high level position within a really well recognized organization, so
Mm-hmm.
the odds of being believed are stacked against her. But that this is where I'm confused as to what to do and how to support is like, if they don't do that, if they don't go to the cops, and there is no case really besides just believing her in person and being warm and being empathetic, what does she hope to accomplish out of that then? Like,
Yeah.
should he lose his job forever?
Well,
what
she's
should
actually
the punishment
suing him,
be?
so
She is.
there is legal
Yeah.
stuff going on. It's
And
not
I
just a
think
story on
suing-
Twitter.
Yeah.
Statute of limitations is a very weird
It is.
law, and
Agreed.
it seems like, why do we have that? It doesn't benefit anyone except for the person who's being accused of wrongdoing. But I mean, I think believing somebody's story in the first place is some people just come forward with their story because they finally feel like they're able to.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, I've had weird stuff happen to me with men in comedy and also in my life, and it was never something that I told a lot of people right away because I grew up in an environment that was like, people will not believe you. People will not believe you, especially if you're like someone who's not in a place of power, and maybe that other person is. I don't want to go into like a whole, like story, but like from my perspective as a woman, it does feel like you have more to lose by telling than to gain. You know, especially if it's something that like maybe you couldn't even seek legal action for it.
Right.
You know?
But is there something then that anybody, just the general public, should be doing to kind of coincide with just an accuser speaking out? Do you know, or you know what I mean?
I think just
Victim,
don't be a dog shit person. Like
Yeah.
if somebody says that something bad happened to them, approach it with empathy.
But is being a dog shit person hiring Luke Walton then? Because you know there is no forensic evidence. There's no like.
I
Legal
refer to him
do you know
as
what I mean?
Dr. Luke. Thank you. He's a medical doctor. Yeah, I mean
Medical doctor.
That's the opposite guy. That was Dr. Luke from the Kesha thing.
Oh.
He's a different guy.
I confuse
no
rapists.
repercussions on that guy.
Yeah.
I confuse
This
rapists.
Who
TV
get-
show,
that's a
The
similar thing
Waltons,
too, though.
right?
Yeah.
So there was small town farm community, the Waltons.
Yes.
Yes, is that what it was?
No.
I mean, I don't think that people should be able to retain their jobs if they abuse their power. I mean, I think that should be an HR matter. But sadly, it's not. I have a lot of jokes about being sexually harassed in the workplace. I've had women come up to me after shows. One of my jokes, I'm like, "Where's our victims?" It's a
Right.
little hacky, but it's fun. You know, where are my victims?
air horn.
It's the woke
Yeah.
version of an air horn.
But I have women come up to me after shows and they say, you know, I was sexually harassed in my job, and because of my position, we don't have an HR that's for my position. You know, it
Wow.
just really sucks. And this is in like corporate America, nothing to do with like the entertainment industry. I think if somebody abuses their power, they should be fired. If you're not doing your job right, you should be fired.
I totally
But
agree with that.
I
But
know
if
what you're
it's
saying,
just an
like-
accusation, if you
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and I you know,
Yeah.
it sounds reasonable what she's saying. It sounds like a reasonable progression of stuff that certainly could happen to any woman. I have no idea what type of person Luke Walton is. I don't know what type of person she is. Just from how she explained the situation, it sounded like a feasible reality. However, there is no legal anything. There's no evidence. It's still
Yeah.
just an accusation.
Well-
so what do you do with his current employment or his future employment?
Yeah, I mean, they are going forward with a
civil
legal
lawsuit,
suit.
yeah.
So there are going to
Yeah.
be things that come up in that. So
I'm
I
just,
mean,
I'm
there
just
has, to
unlucky
be,
in this
there has to be
situation.
due process. You can't
Yeah.
fire a guy based on allegations. That has to end. There has to be due process that happens now, because when you look at the other case of the woman that falsely accused 15 men of rape, and now she's facing imprisonment, should that be a standard thing, that if people come up with false accusations,
sure.
should they
yeah,
face
yeah.
jail
I mean,
time?
I think
Well, it is a standard
that's
thing.
yeah, that does seem like it would be illegal. I don't know the law system. I just know jokes, really. But
On that note, we need to start wrapping up.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
wrap
oh
up.
my god,
Yeah.
I was thinking we should go for a couple more hours.
We did a great job. I really feel like we filled in well. You guys were phenomenal today. Did you have a good time?
I did. We did have an answer to Katie's question about
Statute of limitations is something that is necessary. Men should use this at all times. Anything longer than 5 years is absolute and utter bullshit. Louis should walk. Also, please see Louis this weekend at the Columbus Funny Bone.
Yeah,
If you
yuckly
like
yuckles. Yeah, what B room is he going to be at this
you
weekend?
do present a good point about statute of limitations. And I've been very open about the fact that I once pimped a woman who was 18 years of age, and, you know, she was 18. So statute this.
I don't think that's the same thing.
Let's cut that part. And,
Yeah, Aaron's had the bomb Dana this entire time.
I haven't done it at all. I did a great job. Where are you going to be, Katie?
I'm going on a tour. I'm going on tour. It's starting today. You
Hell
can come
yeah.
to our kickoff show. It's at New York Comedy Club at 9:15. And then we are having a whole list. I guess if we can see there, I don't have the... It's on my website on the blog, which is under the contact. I know it's a little complicated. What the fuck ever. We have a whole list. It's a tour about nothing. Me, Alex Pavone, Case Rosso, Kunal Arora. We're getting in the car and we're driving for 2 weeks. So
Why
we're
are you a
going to-
bald old woman in this
It's
picture?
a Seinfeld
great.
reference.
Oh.
I'm George. Yeah.
Okay.
So we said the tour's about nothing. We're gonna make it. And
You're getting in a car, four of you.
we're all getting in a car. We're all sharing hotel rooms.
That's the most
We have
tan
2
people that
hotels.
were ever in Seinfeld.
Yeah. But we
Tan.
have tomorrow. They're gonna be at Lucy's. Friday we have Laugh It Up. Saturday Auburn, and then we're going to
What a
next
great
week
run.
Mohegan Sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're,
Every
so we're
day.
excited. We are taking Monday and Tuesday off. We'll be back in the city then.
So you're going to come back. That's great.
Yeah, we're excited.
How much fun are you going to have? Are they paying for your hotel rooms in these places, or you got to pay?
We are doing our own hotels, but it's coming out of the show budget, so we're good on that.
You're going to have
but-
who's emceeing, who's closing?
We're rotating. Everything's a rotation.
Everything's a rotation.
I'm going to be filming it all on my stories because I'm probably going to snap at one person at least.
Yes.
Because we've been planning this for a few months, and some people have been getting on my nerves, a.k.a. each one of these bitches.
Yeah.
I'm gonna single them out individually and verbally ravage them.
Wonderful.
Film it and send it to us.
Yeah.
Big tour. Katie Hannigan going to be on tour. She's
Yeah.
absolutely hilarious. One of the top 7 to 12 female comics in the city.
Fuck you.
Cannon, where are you going to be?
If you're listening live, I'm going to be in McGuire's in Bohemia, Long Island this weekend. 3 shows, 1 Friday, 2 Saturday. Get all my other dates at MikeCannonComedy.com. I'm at Uncle Vinny's like 14 times through the remainder of the year. I'm in D.C. Listen to my podcast, Irish Goodbye Podcast with Mike Feeney. We just had Anne Heche on again
saw
for the
that.
second time. Yeah, she's a
Whoa,
delight.
cool.
She's just a new good friend of ours.
So random.
Yeah, so weird. That's what booze and drugs does for you. It really brings people together. Instagram at I am Mike Cannon. I'm putting up videos every single Wednesday. Thank you for everybody that watches and shares those. Appreciate it.
Yes, Aaron, where are you?
Good. Tonight, New York Comedy Club for there's only 136 tickets left. So if you haven't got one already, make sure that you're there for Your Hood's a Joke tonight. In Hot Water is every morning, 9 a.m. on compoundmedia.com, Monday to Thursday. In Hot Water Live will be at Hilarities in Cleveland, May the 5th. May the 7th, very exciting. I will be performing alongside the Sarah Silverman of our time, Miss Stormy Daniels. So I'll be
fun.
with Stormy Daniels at Stand Up New York on May the 7th. And we'll be doing Comedians of the Compound June 28th at Governor's in Levittown, Long Island. Aaron Berg Comedy on Twitter and Instagram. What a
Yes.
treat. Thank you so much for having us today.
Let's see what Bobby has.
Bobby, you can follow him at Robert Kelly Live on Instagram, Robert Kelly for everything else. He'll be at Comics Mohegan Sun this weekend. Next week, he'll be at Levity Live at West Nyack with me and Scopo, actually. The Tiger Room, doing a little run, Black Circle Brewing. And in LA, he'll be at The Lodge. You can get all those tickets through his website at robertkellylive.com. He'll also be at the Cellar Vegas the last week of May, 22nd through the 26th. Second to last week of May. And Laughing Skull in August. So check those dates out. Get those tickets at robertkellylive.com. Also, his Patreon. Gabby, you want to go into that?
Yeah, patreon.com/Robert Kelly. He has a new episode of Live from the Fat Black, which is a new interview series we're doing with Liza Kolbe from Liza Kolbe Sound, a fucking badass musician from the East Village. So check that out. Subscribe. Come on, it's like a cup of coffee. Like, just fucking do it. There's cool content. He always puts up cool shit one-on-one. You get an episode of YKWD early. Follow us on Instagram, YKW Dude Podcast, and on Twitter. And Mike, do you have any dates you want to plug?
Yeah, I'll be, like I said, at West Nyack with Bobby next week. I'll be at Uncle Vinny's the end of May. All the dates that aren't with Andrew Dice Clay. So that week. Andrew's there Wednesday, and I'm there the rest of the weekend.
Great.
Nice.
And social media?
At Mike V. Suarez.
Sweet.
Gabby?
You can follow me on Instagram at Gabby as Brian. I have a monthly show first Wednesday of every month at the Way Station, Brooklyn. Check it out. So that's it. Aaron, how do you feel?
I feel great. I feel like we did a great job.
Yeah?
I'd do this again. Yeah, I feel
Okay.
like I did really well. These guys were amazing.
No,
They,
you were awesome.
Whenever I'd flatten out, they'd pick it up. You guys were there.
It's great.
He didn't say anything. That was
He doesn't.
weird.
That's his thing.
That's what
It was
that
amazing. Great show. You know what, Dad?
Boom.
What's up, dude? Here's the deal. If you're watching this video and you like it, even if you don't like it, hit subscribe. Subscribe. Click the button. Do a little work. Subscribe. Become a member of the channel. And also check out all the other videos we have on this channel. Thanks for checking us out.
You know what, dude? Hit the button, dude. You gotta hit the button, become a member, so I can have more people than...
I know. Just hit the button. Fuck off.